Welcome to Manhwa Recaps, spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. Huge shout out and special thanks to the channel members. The manhwa starts with a woman saying that since monsters are approaching, they're looking for new rays of hope, and that this is now everyone's time to become a hero, and they should begin their stories right here and now, and to make sure to call the Hero Association, as we see the billboard playing the ad on top of a building. The woman's looking up at it. Some people in the street say that she's so cute, and it must be a new ad. The other guy asks why she doesn't just go do raids, when she's an A-rank healer, as they haven't heard of her ever being on a raid. We see her sitting there, feeling embarrassed, and we learn that humanity was plunged into chaos with the invasion of monsters, and that humanity had opened their eyes to a new power, and everyone received superpowers, manifesting what we know as aura. The color of the aura told them their power levels, and it became the standard of categorizing these people's ranks. They called these people, who were their only hopes against the monsters, heroes. Looks like a cross between All Might and Batman. A director then yells cut, telling the woman that her face is too serious, as she's meant to be the mascot, and she can't even do the one thing she's here for, which is smiling. She says she'll try again, and that she's sorry, as we see her eyes are devoid of emotion. The director says that she's even prettier when she's smiling, and now she should smile like a mascot should. We learn that her name is Cure Girl. They start filming and taking pictures of her, saying that this is perfect and she should try smiling even wider, and she says this is not the life she wanted as a hero. She had dreamed of it ever since she was young. She manifested her healing powers in middle school, and when she was registered as an A-rank hero, she was overjoyed to finally be up there with her idols. But it did not go as planned. As we see someone spitting up blood, she's doing her best to heal them, and her hand is shaking really bad. As everybody else is bleeding out on the ground, she sits there as the guy's begging, yelling for her to heal, and he looks up at her, saying that she needs to hurry, only for his head to get popped like a zit by a creature. She says that she was paralyzed with fear and couldn't do a single thing during her first actual mission. She was a hero who couldn't even use her skills in the end. The only worthy thing she had was her appearance. Which is why she went from one shoot to the next. She stayed hidden from people because she was afraid that they would notice that she was powerless. As she's walking forward, she bumps into something and looks up, seeing that it's a telephone pole, and it even calls her an idiot. She asks why she's getting flamed by an inanimate object, then hears a weird sound and looks down to see that there's a cat in a box. Saying that it doesn't seem like a street cat. She wonders what kind of terrible person would leave it here, and we see its eyes starting to tear up, and on its collar is the word stronger. She's confused by this and looks over to her side, seeing the stronger gym. Apparently the translators, or the typesetter had some miscommunication since it's not supposed to be easy fun gym I believe. I will also refer to it as stronger gym 2 for future reference. She says that it must belong there. She heads over, asking if there's anybody here. She pops her head in, saying she has brought the cat from outside. We hear a man telling another one to lift his butt, and the dude says that it hurts and he can't take it anymore. POV, listen to this with your eyes closed. He tells him to endure it because it's only going to hurt for a little bit, and the first time is always like this, and he should just do his best to hold out. The woman sees a very awkward scene and starts to feel very confused. And the guy who is on the floor getting trained is blushing like an absolute freak. He tells someone named Malwang that there is someone here. Malwang turns, which startles her, and she says that she's come to the wrong place, and that they should continue with what they were doing. He stops her before she can close the door and asks if she's a gym baby, telling her not to be scared and to come on in. Bro is really the Tiger King. #free Joe Exotic. She wonders what's up with his nasty ass tiger outfit, saying it's gross. She is just a hater. She tries to explain that it's because of the cat. And when he looks over, Chad is standing there like an absolute Chad, and we see it with the glasses on, even drinking some coffee. Malwang glances at it, and the cat says it's exactly what he thinks it is. We finally learn the other man's name, and Malwang tells him to go get their customer a serving protein. Kiwung says on it, and the girl is just confused. Malwang then says that her arms are like noodles, and tells her that she must be thirsty. He hands her a cup and then starts inspecting her body. She says that she's not feeling well, and he tells her that her knees are about to give out, and her ankles are way past their expiration date, and she would have been dead had she delayed her visit any longer. He tells her not to worry, as he'll make it very easy for her. She asks what he's talking about, and he starts smiling, asking what she thinks, because he's talking about personal training. She says that she's not here for that. Then, he immediately tells her to hit the squats, and for some reason, she tags along. She tells him to listen, but he doesn't. He gets her to do deadlifts with little dumbbells. He even gets her to do the bench press, telling her that she needs to continue, and he'll give her a 1-minute break now. He says 2 more sets and she'll be done, and she says this guy's not listening to her at all, as it has not even been 10 seconds. Her phone then starts beeping hella loud, and when she picks it up, it starts to shoot out a red light that creates a hologram, saying emergency, and that there is a B-rank monster nearby, and there's only a single hero within the area. She wonders why there's a monster alarm right now. She says it's very close, and she's the only hero here, and she wonders what to do. Her hand's shaking, and she says that even if she were to go, she doesn't know if she could do it. Wang asks if she has to shit, because she's shaking. He says the bathroom's on her left, out the door. She tries to explain that's not it. Then decides to herself that it would just be pointless, and he tells her to go. She's surprised by this, and she tries to say that even if she does go, he says that he knows she wants to, and she should just go do that instead of holding back. And she shouldn't regret it later on. She's surprised by how insightful he is. But instead, he was talking about her taking a shit. As he tries to give her some toilet paper, she's already gone. He says that she must have been in a real hurry, and the bathroom is out of toilet paper, so that's gonna be unlucky for her. We see her running down the street until she comes to a stop, as people are screaming about the monster. She looks over at it, saying that there's no other hero here besides her. And we see the B-rank monster called Nanomon, whose real name is Betty. She says that she needs to do what she can. She tells everybody to be careful, not to bump into each other as they're running away, and to stay orderly. As Betty starts to stomp out a girl's life, Cure Girl sees this and is surprised and screams no, as Betty tells her to bite the curb. She says that she is the only one here who can help, and she wonders what she's doing, and that she has to go because she's a hero. She starts gritting her teeth. She says that she just needs to force herself to do it, like when she poses for the camera. Then she hears someone tell her to run. She immediately opens her eyes, dashing forward, grabbing the girl, saving her from Betty's attack. She can't believe that she moved, and as she slides across the ground, Betty looks over at her. She asks the little girl if she's okay, and the girl recognizes her, saying that the monster scared her really bad. As Betty rears back his fist, coming in for an attack, she closes her eyes, afraid. But of course, the Tiger King shows up and hits the monster, sending it flying backward, crashing into a nearby wall. She says that she's glad there was a hero nearby, only for her to be surprised, as Wang says, "My goodness," and he starts stretching, telling her not to worry as the alpha male is here. And he told her that the bathroom is on her left, out of the door. Cure Girl yells, telling him to look in front of him, as Betty's coming in for an attack. And it hits Wang straight in the face, causing him to spit out blood. This time, he gets sent flying backward, but he manages to just catch himself before he goes too far, and throws a rock, hitting Betty in the face. He then starts to pick up more and throws them one after the other. Betty lets out a scream, coming in for an attack, which Wang dodges underneath. Then he blocks the next one with his hands. And Cure Girl is just surprised, she can't see his aura, asking if he is just a normal dude. As Bro is getting his ass whooped, she asks why he would do something so rash, and that he needs to get away because he's going to die. Bro is getting the Loki treatment, as he's getting picked up by his leg and treated like a ragdoll. Wang is still smiling, holding his guard up. And then he begins laughing, asking Betty if this is all he's got, calling him a lard ass. Cure Girl wonders if maybe he has some kind of secret weapon. And Wang says that Betty could never win against him because of one reason. She starts to smile, thinking he does. And he hits the coolest pose of all time, saying that it's because the A-rank hero Cure Girl is right there. Even the little girl is starting to look up at her. But Cure Girl is just confused, asking what he's talking about. She looks over at Wang, still holding the coolest pose of all time, and she asks if the secret weapon is really her. She starts shaking her head because she's anxious. And Wang's smile starts to leave, because she's just sitting there, doing nothing, as Betty comes in for an attack. Mal Wang gets hitched straight in the face, and Cure Girl says that she's sorry. Bro does hella flips before landing headfirst, and she says that he's gonna die because of her, and she can't stay still forever. She's screaming, trying to get her power to activate, as Mal Wang is getting absolutely bodied. Betty starts to come in for an RKO, I take it back. He begins hitting him with the 7-page Muda, as Cure Girl is crying, saying that she wants it to work just once. But Betty's attacks go out anyways, destroying the terrain all around. Cure Girl then begins to cry, and Betty's just sweating and a little gassed out. We see Mal Wang laying there motionless, and his cool drip got destroyed. Betty then starts walking over towards Cure Girl, and she says that, like always, she has failed. But we hear Mal Wang calling out to Betty, causing him to turn around. He says this hurts his self-esteem, asking if he's done already, as he acknowledges that he got him once. But he has forged his body for years with steel, and that he's looking down on it too much. Even if he's in this state, he's still the owner of the stronger gym. Betty begins screaming, as he goes in for another attack, punting Mal Wang backwards into a wall. Mal Wang starts to stand back up and laughs, saying that hurt more than he thought, and he's not saying that it's her fault, so she should stop crying like a baby. She says that she's the hero, yet she's being comforted by a citizen. As Betty raises his hand into the air, she pleads, saying that even if it's just this once, she wants it to activate. We see a purple aura starting to emanate from her hands. There's also a bright red light as well, and a giant explosion that soon follows. Betty is surprised, and Mal Wang says that when it hits, it really hits. We see the aura starting to envelop him, and it even has a cross on his chest now. Cure Girl also has a little cross in her eye. We learn that her superpower is that it allows her to restore the health and heal the wounds of her target. And we finally learn that her name is Li Jihyun. Mal Wang laughs, saying that slaying a monster with a pretty girl who just awakened sure sounds fun. And Betty begins to sweat nervously, as Mal Wang has one hell of an evil smile. Grabbing onto Betty's hand, he straight eats the piss out of him, saying that this is the absolute best. Betty crashes into the wall. He then rips out a giant pole out of the ground and says that he's gonna send him even further away this time. Betty then begins to scream once more and leaps off the ground directly towards Mal Wang. But Mal Wang swings the pole as if it was a bat, so hard that it even cracks the pole itself, sending the debris flying everywhere. But it also knocks Betty into a nearby bus. Mal Wang asks why the hell the pole was so weak. And we hear Ki-woong calling out to him, telling him that it's time for the nuclear weapon delivery. As he throws something forward, Mal Wang catches it. He says that he knew he smelled something, and since the year 1986, they have been boasting the history for 40 years of their tradition, which is Jang Cheongdong. Jihyun is completely lost. And the simple explanation is that it's jumbo pig trotters. Mal Wang begins eating away at it, and he says this is the shit, and you can just feel the protein hit every vessel in his body. And he can't stop eating pork. Betty is starting to regain consciousness and looks forward. Betty runs in, hitting Mal Wang with a punch to the gut, but Mal Wang smiles. Betty is surprised to see that he didn't actually hit him, but rather the jumbo pig trotter. Mal Wang says that they say you should leave even dogs be when they're eating, and asks if maybe Betty wants to eat some too. And starts beating him, telling him that he should taste the protein. Then bonks him straight on the head. As Betty comes in for attacks, Mal Wang starts sidestepping them, and then replies with his patented leg press kick. As Betty is still roaring, Mal Wang gets close, grabbing onto his stomach, and puts the pig trotter in his mouth, slamming it down, saying that this is the mouth lot pull down. Betty tail swipes him straight in the face, and as he starts to spit out blood, Mal Wang laughs, saying that he's not going to stop here, as they continue their fight. He and Betty start trading blow for blow with one another, and I honestly can't tell who's winning, because it's low-key very goofy. Jihyun then starts to activate her ability once more and uses heal. As we see it starting to form around Mal Wang once more, treating his wounds. He then leaps into the air with the pig trotter behind him and lets out a primal scream. Betty does as well. And Mal Wang comes down with an absolute bomb of an overhand attack, destroying the hell out of Betty. Jihyun just looks relieved, as Betty is laying on the floor. Mal Wang tells her that her story starts now, saying that this is how she said it in the ad. Jihyun says that she had a premonition that something was different this time, and she starts to smile brightly, saying that he shouldn't joke at times like this. We then see her sign a contract for the stronger gym. With her bloody fingerprint, she puts it on the contract, only to be surprised, because he pulled it out of nowhere. And Mal Wang starts to have that shit-eating grin, saying that a new member has joined. Ki-woong's so happy, bro starts throwing that shit back. And Jihyun starts cringing, saying that she had an ominous premonition it seems. As Ki-woong is still throwing it back, we get a wide view of Betty taking a dirt nap. It then jumps to Mal Wang telling Jihyun to stop messing around and to lift with discipline. As she's doing a deadlift, she asks what's going on and why she's even doing this. We get a flashback to after he forcefully made her sign the contract and he held it up to her. She tried to explain that she didn't, and he says that unlimited personal training sessions for $100 a month and $1,300 for a whole year. He'll pay special care to the personal training for her. He says that she just got a huge deal, as she's now on her way to become the healthiest life form on this planet. We see the weights drop to the floor, and he asks what she thinks she's doing as she has to lift the barbell with discipline. As we see her in pain on the ground crying, she says that she just wants to go home, and he said this is easy, but it isn't. She can't even put strength into her hands anymore. She says on the topic of strength, the other day she got a huge burst of power, and she hasn't felt anything like that since. But she was able to use her powers again, and she can't figure out the reason, but says it could have to do with Mal Wang, but for some reason she calls him the Horse King. I think she meant Tiger King. Never mind, bro is a real person, what the hell, and that if she spends time with him, she might be able to find that power once more, but this should not be it. We then hear the cat from outside as it walks over brushing up against her leg. She asks the cat if it's comforting her, thanking it. Mal Wang gives the little cat a thumbs up, saying that this is some carrot and stick action. She then freaks out because Ki-woong puts a cold water bottle to the back of her neck. He says that the first time is always hard and that she should stay hydrated. She thanks him. He says that even if it's hard now, the sweat she spills will become her muscles in the future, and if she sows the seeds, they'll definitely grow. She laughs, saying indeed, as something drops out of his bag. She mentions it, and he says that this was supposed to be kept a secret. She asks what it is, and he says that it's a movie script that he's working on as an actor on the side. She asks if she can take a look, and he says of course. She's surprised that he's a villain and a minor one at that, saying that he must be disappointed that he isn't the main character. He says that he isn't, and it's a role that makes people hate him on and off the stage. But for a protagonist to shine, a villain needs to exist, and he finds fulfillment in playing his role, as villain roles are something he enjoys. She's so surprised that he has this kind of side to him and says that he sure is adorable. He has the strong mentality of someone who doesn't care about the opinion of others, and that she wants to get his autograph before he blows up. She then hears him making some heavy lifting sounds, and when she looks over, she sees him doing some very ass-to-grass squats. She asks if he's okay. Bro starts even making the ugly face, we've all been there in the gym. Mal Wang says he's a worthless piece of shit and asks if this is all he's got. She asks him what he's doing as he's getting crushed, and Ki-woong laughs, saying that this is it. She asks what he means, and Mal Wang still starts flaming the absolute hell out of him, asking if he's giving him that tough love. Ki-woong says just a bit more, and his wrist starts to look strained. Mal Wang tells him that he needs to make his elbow straight, asking why he's so weak, and that if he tells anybody that he's going to his gym, he's going to beat the shit out of him, because he's the package, and Ki-woong is just the luggage, and he needs to pack his shit and get out. I don't know what kind of boot camp screaming we got here, but it works, but Ki-woong says just a bit more, and then he overhead presses the entire barbell while screaming, and he starts begging Mal Wang to insult him more. Holy what a freak. Mal Wang asks if he wants him to work him to the point that he's shitting bloody diarrhea, his actual words. Jihyun is already thinking about going to a different series, while Ki-woong looks all proud and refreshed and lets out a crazy sigh. Her phone then starts to beep as he's still over there insulting him, and the masochist is sitting there enjoying it. It's a summon for a public support request, and that they're trying to fix the mess from last time. Ki-woong says it's time to head out then, and she tries to tell him that this is just for heroes, as he runs out the door before she can say it. She looks surprised, asking Mal Wang if he'll be alright since it might be dangerous. Mal Wang asks what she's talking about, saying that he thought she knew, and that Ki-woong is actually a B-class hero, which she did not know. Why did her alert only show one hero in the area then? We see a lot of the heroes working hard to clean up the debris, and it's anywhere between A rank to C rank heroes. Some of them are using telekinesis to lift blocks, while others like Ki-woong are just using brute force to clean the area up. Wang spots him, asking her if she's ready to get started. She says yes. We then hear a guy say holy shit as he recognizes Cure Girl. He says that he saw her face on the TikTok, as we see her doing some anime pose. But it's not just that, as she did a bunch of little trends to try to make the Heroes Association pop and dance to some very cutesy music. The guy asks if she can do it for him live, because he wants to put it on Instagram and it'll go viral. She tells him that she's on a mission right now, and he grabs her arm forcefully, telling her to stop lying, as he knows she doesn't do missions, and that she should just listen to him. She screams, and he says that if she won't do it, he says maybe she can shake her ass a little bit, and get some dinner. Wang yells out the food name, causing the guy to look over confused. He starts busting out the same exact moves that Jihyun was. And I'm just saying, his version looks way better. Bro is repping the Tiger King underwear. Fun fact, I have a pair of Tiger King underwear too. As he's dancing, they just start getting cringed out. And Wang asks if he wants to take him to dinner instead, and that he has some ideas in mind. Jihyun is getting a ton of second-hand embarrassment, and the guy walks over to Wang, grabbing onto his shirt, calling him a bastard. Wang says that they can go to whatever restaurant he wants, and the dude says that he knows it's him, saying that he's that bastard. Wang is confused, and we get a flashback to 3 years ago. Some kids are smoking in a no-smoking zone, saying that if something happens, they're saying that every time they do something, the kids cry and piss their pants begging for their parents. We see the guy giving us the flashback as we hear Wang calling out to them. He asks what they're doing in a smoke-free zone, saying that he'd like for them to put their cigarettes out, and bro is shirtless in the snow. One of the dudes asks if he's an exhibitionist or something, saying that it's winter. The blonde guy asks his friend why he's having such an attitude towards an adult, and apologizes to Wang, saying they didn't know it was a smoke-free zone. Wang then tells him that smoking kills their sperm count, and that he wants the rest of their cigarettes, and since it's over for him because of all of his steroid usage, he'll sacrifice the rest he's got in their honor. Then the guy rips something off, which is none other than the no smoking poster, and the dude laughs, saying that it's a smoke zone now, and then spits right on Wang's face. He then starts taunting him, saying that he must have gone deaf, asking if he can't hear him. As Wang sits there, this guy mistakes it as him being scared. The guy runs in, saying that he's going to hit him with a punch to get the tears out of his face. But the exact next panel is a puddle of piss on the floor and a cigarette in the middle. RIP bro is a psychopath. The guy is crying, and snot is running out of his nose, as Wang is giving him one hell of a death stare. Wang says he remembers him, asking if he finally quit smoking. The guy starts gritting his teeth, and he says that he's such a bastard for not being able to read the room, saying that he's been looking for him. As he's become much more of an adult since then, he begins releasing an orange aura, burning Wang where he's standing with a pillar of fire, which he calls cigarette fire for some reason. Jihyun yells for Wang, wondering what an awakened is doing to an unawakened. The guy says that he's not the same as before, and that he should probably receive some payback, and he can't even say anything now that he's burning alive. Wang then starts singing the song from when he was throwing out those moves earlier. Running through the fire, he hits the guy in the face, sending one of his teeth flying out. But it's not just that, the dude is now soaring through the air. He's continuing to sing the song and even adds little bits into it, making fun of how all of the dude's teeth are now on the floor. He says that he thought he could hurt him, who sculpted his muscles for years, with some power that he got without working. He doesn't even have common sense. But Jihyun is just saying no, he totally should have been burned. He wonders what kind of plot armor he has. We then hear another voice asking what this is, as they heard a commotion over here, saying he missed his stronger gym cutie, asking if this is fate. And the zesty warrior even throws out a heart. He was in the background of one of the earlier panels in a pink outfit. His name is a secret, so is his ability. But he is a field manager at the Hero Management Bureau, and says that he likes those with the Y chromosome. Never would have guessed. The Heart King says that it's been a while, and he's glad to see Jihyun, but she needs to get out of the way. Jihyun wonders what kind of story they have. And Heart King starts groping Mulwang's chest, saying that this body is so exciting and calls him darling. She can't believe that she's about to see some boy love, and wonders if this is the right series. But Mulwang is making an entirely different face compared to the Heart King. The Heart King then starts licking all over his shoulders, saying that it's so tasty, and Mulwang screams, running away, begging that somebody saves him, as the Heart King chases after him. Mulwang says that he doesn't want any part of this, as the Heart King yells, saying that he'll make him feel good like last time as Diddy taught him well. Jihyun asks what the hell he means by last time, and we hear the blonde-haired guy groaning. And she looks down to the floor, asking if he's alright, telling him not to move so soon. He knocks her backwards, telling her to stay the hell away from him, and that he won't be able to forgive Mulwang for what he's done to him. He starts to release even more fire, saying that he heard where he is, and that he should just wait, as he'll go burn his piece of shit gym to the ground. Jihyun's surprised that he's so angry, and tells him to wait, as he glares back at her. She asks what he means by burn it all, as she can't let him do that. He's the one who started it, and that he should be ashamed of himself, and he shouldn't use cowardly methods because he himself is lacking. He tells her to shut up, asking who she thinks she is, and if she starts yapping, he'll burn her mouth shut. She then starts hitting him with the superhuman law, as the Awakened will not use their abilities on civilians, but he already broke that, asking if he knows how severe the crime is, as it's obviously attempted murder, and if he tries to make more of a fuss, she'll stop him herself as a hero, but we see tears in her eyes. He runs at her with his fist on fire, saying that she's a bitch who only has her face, asking what she can even do. As she starts to put up her guard, afraid of the attack, she slowly opens her eyes after nothing happens, only to see bro got covered in some weird yellow substance. She's surprised, wondering what in the Kelly is going on, and we hear a creature asking where the person with the tanghulu is. As it starts leaving a trail behind, it says that its hands are shaking, and it feels dizzy, and it starts asking where the tanghulu is, saying that it needs it now, and we see a giant weird little dragon slime hybrid standing before her. The monster is called the Fat Hulu, and it is an A-rank monster. Its skill is called the Sugary Stomach Acid, and it immobilizes targets and suffocates them. She wonders why there is an A-rank monster here right now. It starts to shoot out its attack directly toward her, and she puts up her arms while screaming. The attack comes into contact with some kind of barrier around her, and Fatty is just confused, but so is Jihyun until she recognizes it. We then hear a woman telling her to step aside, as she is in the way. She traps Fatty with a cage made from thin air. Fatty is doing his best to try to melt the bars and squeeze through them. There is enough resistance that Fatty is completely entrapped, unable to move. Jihyun looks up, seeing the girl floating in the air, asking if she is the S-rank hero, Yura. She tells her not to overreact, and we learn that her full name is Kim Yura. Her skill is form implementation, and she is a freelance hero who has quit the association. Fatty starts to scream, but we see his body starting to actually wrap around the cage, and Jihyun is just wondering what it is doing. It manages to get its arm out, reaching toward her, and she says this is bad, as her powers aren't working. Yura calls him sticky and disgusting, and starts to form something in the air above her. She raises her hand into the air, saying that it is repulsive, telling it to piss off. Fatty is confused, reaching his little chubby hands up, only to get smashed by her giant air hammer, sending his chunks flying around. Jihyun covers her face, then opens her eyes to see that he just got evaporated and says that she is amazing. Yura says that she looks familiar, asking who she is. Jihyun gets excited, saying that she has seen her at the association before and tells her that she is Cure Girl. Yura says that she didn't recognize her, but then says that she's the clown from back then. Jihyun asks what she means, and Yura is looking around for somebody, saying they are not here either, asking where they went. We then hear Mulwang screaming for dear life. Heart King is wrapped around him, trying to give him smooches. Bro doesn't want any part of this. Jihyun asks the Horse King what is happening, only for Yura to hit the Heart King, sending him flying away, pretty much just team rocketing this guy. Yura says that he can't do anything without her, and there is no need for him to thank her. Then she spots Jihyun touching all over Mulwang's arms, comforting him while he is bawling his eyes out because he almost just got diddied. Something snaps inside of Yura, as she gets pissed. Mal Wang says that he was so scared he barely managed to lose him, only to spot Yura there, releasing her aura, and he gets excited. He starts to walk over, asking how long it's been and why she's not coming to the gym anymore, only for her hammer to hit him straight headfirst into the concrete floor. She calls him gross, and Jihyun says they must know each other. A yellow substance grabs onto her foot. It's none other than Fatty, who's back, saying that hurt. Turns out she didn't kill him. He goes in for an attack, which Mal Wang manages to grab Jihyun and get her out of, telling her to be careful. Yura is starting to feel like a princess because he's carrying her, and he says that was really dangerous, asking if she's okay. She says yes and thanks him, and then he laughs, saying that she's welcome. Yura mistakes this as them flirting and starts to get even more pissed. She starts to say, "Look at this bitch acting all innocent," and that she's nothing but a grandma trying to act like she's cute. We then hear her yell "Oh my," and when Mal Wang turns, we see her on the floor saying that she is tripped. She says she had an ouchie while giving Mal Wang puppy dog eyes. It doesn't work, because instead Mal Wang is begging for her to save him, as Fatty is coming in for more attacks. She clicks her tongue, and as Fatty crushes where Mal Wang is standing, Yura tells him to read the room, as there's no place for it, so it should piss off already. We see Mal Wang holding onto her waist, while she has Jihyun floating in the air behind them. She then drops some kind of refrigeration unit in front of it. Jihyun says that S ranks are really different. She starts to activate the fridge, telling it to freeze Fatty. We see it doing exactly that, and its skin color starts to slowly change, as it is becoming harder, and it has been frozen completely solid, unable to move. Mal Wang tells her that she did a great job, and she says surely he's not just going to stay there. She puts some armor all around his body. He says this is great, and with this, he can definitely take it down. But she says there's going to be more, as she starts to put him inside of a cannon. He says this is it, and he's locked and loaded, while laughing like a maniac. She fires him out directly toward Fatty's mouth. Bro broke the sound barrier, as he's going Mach, flying straight toward the monster. It starts to break free of the freezing a little bit, coming in for a punch while screaming. Mal Wang meets it with a shoulder charge, and they collide right there in the air. Fatty's chunks start to get sent flying around, as Mal Wang's piercing straight through it, flying through the monster's arm, shattering it down the middle. He yells after sending it everywhere, saying that this is called the Fat Buster, as Bro completely destroyed the top of the monster's head, taking it off with him. Jihyun is speechless, but Yura looks like she expected as much. Mal Wang lands on the ground, saying that this is the no more obesity touchdown, who named this shit. We then see a weird aura display, multiple of the colors around his wrist until it fades away. Jihyun spots this as well, wondering what that is, but says there's no way she saw it right, because he doesn't have any powers, and it must be wrong. Mal Wang turns around and looks at the monster with a smile on his face. Yura can't believe he's inviting her to third wheel, and Jihyun says okay. As they start walking away, Mal Wang says that he was really cool. She tells him to stop acting tough, while Yura just sits there. She's looking at the monster and says okay. They're then all looking down at the food on the plate, and even Kiwoong is here. Yura asks why he's eating pig feet again. Mal Wang tells her to shut up and not to insult his protein. She says it's because he eats this every day, calling him a pervert. Kiwoong just thanks him for the meal. Mal Wang says that he was going to pick the meat off for her, so she should stop complaining and dig in. She tries to play it off, acting like a tsundere, saying that since he's asking so nicely. But in reality, she's freaking out, saying that she's completely fallen. Only for him to immediately tell Jihyun to go ahead and say ah. Yura can't believe that he's doing something for Jihyun that he didn't do for her, asking if he's serious. Jihyun says she's fine and she's not that hungry, only for her stomach to start growling loudly. Mal Wang tells her to go ahead and look over. Kiwoong asks if she really doesn't like the food, and Yura tells him to shut the hell up and let her starve. Jihyun says it's because she's on a diet, and she doesn't really want to tell them it's because she has anorexia. Mal Wang says that extreme diets are not allowed, and a nutritious meal is required after exercise, as good food creates a healthy body, and she should take a bite and treat it as 3 sets of 10 reps of eating. She tells him that she's fine, and he slams the table, telling her to do it now. She starts to nibble on it, and her eyes immediately open wide, saying that this taste sure is amazing. We get some Food Wars style imagery of a pair of pigs dancing, and she says that this is a tango of passion. She says it's delicious. Mal Wang asks her to repeat it, and she says this is really gas. He says it's nice to see her dig in. Even Yura joins in, saying that she won't lose to her. Mal Wang says this is great. Bro loves pig feet. Ki Wung is just fourth wheeling at this point. Back to the gym. We see Jihyun in the middle of an exercise, which I can't tell what it is because she's sitting down. Maybe good mornings, or box squats. She puts down the barbell and lets out a sigh as she's looking at herself in the mirror, and she looks much better than she did at the start of the series. She says that it feels like she's completely changed, and she's been eating well, and she doesn't feel depressed anymore, and that it must be thanks to Mal Wang's exercises. Somebody then starts to stretch their hands out to her, which she senses and turns, only to see somebody with a Shin ramen box on their head calling out for their brother. It causes Jihyun to scream in panic, running backwards asking them who they are, and they take off the box, crying, saying to please stop their brother. Because they lost their parents at a young age, her brother did everything to fill in, and he would work day and night, and he even saved up enough to send her abroad for school. Thanks to him, she managed to graduate from college, and she only returned to Korea a few days ago. But her brother's become weird. He just suddenly says this weird catchphrase out of nowhere, he also doesn't even come home often. And that she decided to see where he goes, so she disguised herself and followed him, as she learned from Metal Gear Solid. And Jihyun says that she doesn't need to hide anymore, with the girl scream saying no, and she saw it with her own eyes as she was peering into the gym. She put her face to the glass, as she was surprised by what she saw, as it was none other than a cult leader with tiger print underwear. Horse King, you're catching strays, bruh. And she's certain that her brother's been brainwashed by this cult leader. She says that she's definitely talking about Mal Wang and says that it's a place for people to gather and work out, and that she's misunderstanding it. Only for them to start hearing some very demonic training sounds, and they both look scared wondering what the sound is. And we see a red curtain and people lifting weights. As somebody keeps saying die in hell, and of course, there's an evil silhouette that looks as if they're stabbing somebody, causing blood to fly out everywhere. Jihyun decides to take action and moves the curtain away asking them what they are doing, only to see four absolute freaks in front of her glaring towards her. She looks terrified, and they say that the time has come, and they stretch their hands out towards her singing to go to hell, only for them to dash past her and past the other girl, dashing outside. Jihyun's confused, and the girls just screaming as they see tons of blood left all over the floor from where they were, and the other girl just dies on the spot. You had a short screen time, you will not be missed. And she just wonders who they were, so they both decide to follow them. The girl says that she's not certain because of their makeup, but she's sure that her brother is one of them. Jihyun says that she sees, and she doesn't think she should let them be. As we see them all walking away, they're reaching towards an old lady with a giant bag, and it looks very ominous, and they're yelling, telling her to give it. Jihyun tells the granny to watch out, only for the granny to turn, and then we see them carrying her away, and the other person's grabbing the bag. Jihyun and the girl still wonder what the hell is up with them, and we hear them tell the grandmother to go to hell, and Jihyun says that she knew something was off. The girl says that it's happening again, as they follow them. We see a ball stuck in a tree with a little boy crying, and one of them raising his weapon into the air. Right above the kid, looking like he's about to kill him, Jihyun runs in screaming no. Only for the guy to swing directly towards the child, and we hear a loud sound. Turns out that he hit the tree, causing the ball to fall down, and the kid immediately looks relieved. One of them stretches the ball toward the kid, saying that it was the soccer ball guillotine, and that the kid should get ready because he's next. Now they're very confused, asking what they want. Jihyun asks the girl if she wants to keep following them, and she says yes. As they do so, we see tons of rude people smiling everywhere, as there's a whole group meeting with perhaps some kind of event. Jihyun and the girl see them laughing and look worried, and they say that every one of them are gathering in this area, and that they're paying money for something, and that this might actually be a cult. If that's the case, they need to stop them. We then hear the girl from earlier saying die over and over, and she walks forward, and we see her on Jihyun's shoulders, telling the guy to go to hell, and as they pay money to enter, she bonks her head going in and just dies, getting carried away. On the inside, the girl said it was a perfect plan, and Jihyun tells her to come over here, as they're in this room. As the door slowly starts to crack open, we see a bunch of red lights shining on the stage. The people from the gym are all standing there in robes. They start smiling, and they say now the doors to hell have been opened. The girl said that's her brother's voice, and Jihyun asks if she's sure. A bloody object then starts to get carted out onto the stage, and the guy asks if everybody's ready. One of the men then grabs onto his mask and throws it high into the sky, and we see none other than Mal Wang, telling them to go to hell. Jihyun is just confused, as the crowd starts going crazy at his appearance, and they keep yelling go to hell and die. As we see all of the members from Stronger Gym too, even Heart King, Ki-woong and Yura are there too. Jihyun wonders if they're all in this together and if Mal Wang is truly some kind of cult leader. One of the KISS members says that the King of Hell has asked for it, and it's time to give him the sacrifice, as they pull the curtain off of what's on the tray. Jihyun wonders if it's actually going to be a person. As Mal Wang raises a meat cleaver into the air, he says that he'll do it with his own hands. He then starts to swing it down, and we see blood flying everywhere, as he cuts something directly in half, and Jihyun tries to stop it, but it's too late, and she only sits there in horror, as the blood splatters across the arena. All of the KISS members begin laughing, telling everybody to be glad. This is what they wanted and what they asked for. Turns out it's ketchup, and they're throwing nothing but burgers around the crowd. People are catching them, and Jihyun's just staring at them. Mal Wang says that now they have replenished what they need for muscle growth, and everybody should follow him and scream. And they start squatting, and the lyrics are mega deadlift up, bench press power lifted up, and it just continues on and on. As it turns out, it's none other than a charity concert for the band Megadeth, and that the entrance fee for the concert is donated to the improvement of the city, and that all of the things they saw the band members doing earlier were them just looking out for fellow citizens. They continue the concert, and they even hit a ridiculous T-pose that everybody follows, and the girl says that it's such a relief. Jihyun calls out to her, and she says that she was just worried about her brother changing, and she was stupid, as it was one big misunderstanding. And although he's wearing scary makeup, her brother is making everybody happy, just like he always has. Jihyun's now starting to see it all in a better light, and the lights themselves start to become a little brighter. Everybody's smiling, having a great time, and Jihyun says that there are some A rank and S rank heroes, but none of them matter. These people right here have the ability to make others happy, and that this moment truly shows that they are all heroes, and she gives us a very warm smile. For some reason, they start screaming, and the girl is crying again. And we get another good look at all of the band members, and this guy's rowing his guitar, the guy with the drums is using dumbbells, this guy's squatting his instrument, and the singer is just ripping into pouring his soul out. It then jumps to the building from an outside view, and we go even further and further until we're looking at our pale blue dot, and then from that, somebody's targeting onto it from a spaceship, and they have a shit-eating grin, as some kind of weird pyramid structure is heading straight towards Earth. This makes me want to go get a burger. A little later, we hear them tap their shaker bottles and they cheers one another. And the dude says that the concert today was awesome. The reactions were pretty good during Mal Wang's part. Mal Wang says yes, and especially at the ketchup, only for them to spit their drink out on him. The dude asks if this is what he meant, and Mal Wang starts grabbing his face, screaming. He then starts chasing the long-haired guy, telling him to get back here. And he just tells him to try catching him whenever he can, and laughs. Yura asks what they are doing, and Jihyun just wonders who they are. The dude says that even the Great Horse King can't catch him, and he sure doesn't look up to his name. And the little sister tells her brother to apologize. Jihyun then realizes that's her brother. And as Mal Wang is chasing him, she says there's no way, asking if these are really the same people from the Megadeth band that she just witnessed a second ago. Because they look nothing remotely similar to what they look like in their makeup. Jihyun says there's no way they're using those faces like that, and Yura says that she already told her they're losers. Mal Wang is breaking this guy's back like he was Bane from Batman, and says that he should try messing around with him again. He then feels a sensation in his ass, and immediately understands that he needs to go to the bathroom. He leaves the guy's corpse, saying that he'll finish dealing with him when he's back from the bathroom. And Ki-woong says he wants to go with. What a weirdo. As they're walking over, Ki-woong says that Mal Wang seems very excited today. Mal Wang says it's not like that, and starts laughing. And then we hear a woman call out to them. And when they turn, she looks very nervous and has her phone in her hand. Wang wonders if this is his first ever female fan. And the girl starts to ask him if it's okay, and he misunderstands it as her wanting to take a picture, only for her to smack the piss out of him instead. And she asks Ki-woong if he has a girlfriend, because she saw him at the concert venue earlier. Poor Horse King. The girl gives her number to him, saying she should call him later, and Wang just cries some manly tears. A bit later, we see the girl's brother saying apparently the concert donation was safely delivered. And Jihyun says that even if they look funny, they truly are warm-hearted people. Yura says that the two of them have really big influence, and that they're very close friends. And she asks which two she's talking about. She says she's talking about Wang and the bass player. They went around helping those who lost their families or were harmed by monsters. Those who were in their favor back then gathered to create a band, and they used the concert funds to help those who were struggling, just like those two did for them, again painting them in a very warm light. Jihyun starts to smile, saying that the Horse King is quite strange. And when someone sees him, they want to follow him, and he's someone who spreads good energy. And perhaps that's why when she's with him, she starts to feel happy. Yura can't believe that she's acting like this, seeing her as competition. But Jihyun says that it seems like the two of them have been together for a long time. Yura immediately 180s her personality because she hears the word together, and she starts to think about when she first met him. We see a very chubby version of her working on the Stairmaster with her pump cover on, and she tripped and fell, landing on her back. The other gym goers noticed her and walked over, and we see her struggling to get back up. And damn, she has lost a lot of weight. Wang calls out to her, saying that she's been training for over 3 hours now. She tells him to leave her alone. He says that there's nothing to be embarrassed about, and he might look like this, but he's the owner of the stronger gym. And she should just trust and follow him. She then yells, telling him to piss off, calling him a horse-headed bastard. He turns into an actual horse, asking what she means. She asks if it's funny to watch a fatty waddle around, laughing behind her back. She wants everyone to stop watching her. He asks why she thinks they're laughing. And she mistakes them having a great time working out as her just being a pig. When in reality, that's not how it is at all. Because they have two different views of the room. Wang tries to tell her there's been a misunderstanding. And she hits his hand away and starts to run out of the building. He sees her running away. Some other time, back at his gym, she's on the Stairmaster once more. When she goes to fall backwards, she feels something catching her. And we hear Wang saying she's full of fighting spirit as always. Bro has been on the nastiest dirty bulk. Yura was surprised, and he says he tried something new. And he went on a yummy restaurant tour. And he's forgotten what it feels like to be this full. She asks why he's doing this, because everybody's going to stare at him, but they'll judge him as much as they want. While he's in that form, he also cannot be loved at all. She begins crying. We then see somebody drop their backpack onto the floor. And it's none other than the girl's older bro. Then the bass player asks Wang what's wrong with him. Yura says that she told him, and now that he's also going to get flamed. And instead, the bass player asks if he can try hitting him. Wang says that it won't be easy, as he's completely full. Then everybody starts surrounding him, telling the rest to come look at Wang. Saying that bro is curvier than a model. Bro starts eating the glaze. And Yura is just confused as hell by the situation. Wang asks if she understands it now, as people's points of views don't change that easily. If people knew him, they wouldn't hate him just for gaining weight. As it's still him in the end. And he doesn't know why she abuses herself so much. But she should at least do it while having fun. Whether it's exercise or anything else. She's hesitant, but understands that he's right. And we start to see him personally training her. As he gets her to do some deadlifts. They also argued a lot. But they also pigged out together. And as time went on and on, she slowly got down to the form we're familiar with. Wang was very proud of it. As she locked in, she lets out a scream as she lifted the weight above her head. She was just surprised that she actually managed to do it. She even had Megadeth sitting there encouraging her. And she lets out a sigh, as it starts hitting her once more. She lets out a big smile because she's so proud of her accomplishment. She says that it's nothing much. And the flashback ends. She then wonders why Mal Wang's taking so long in the bathroom. And the building starts to shake, as debris begins to fall from the ceiling. People wonder if there's an outbreak or a monster nearby. Because there was a loud sound. On the outside, we see a purple glow in the sky. And the civilians are looking up. Ji-hyun runs outside to Mal Wang and Ki-woong, asking what's wrong, as they heard a very loud boom. Then Ji-hyun looks up, seeing that giant pyramid-like structure in the sky above them. And she wonders what it is. Because the base pro shop is invading crazy style. Ki-woong says that it was a notification from the association. And they need to hurry and evacuate. Ji-hyun asks if they're really just meant to leave that and go. And Yura asks if she's even really a hero. They ask Mal Wang what they should do, telling him to say something. And he says there's no way. Ji-hyun's surprised that he's not trying to just headbutt it. He says that if it's that big, there's nothing he can do, and they should just listen to the order. Something then begins to beam down behind them. And when they all turn, the light gets very strong as it impacts directly on the ground. Something begins to emerge from it, saying that this is a fascinating sight. It is a form that they've never seen. It is the ultimate evolution made to survive in an unfamiliar setting. And that they are excited to see the strong warriors they've become. As it slowly steps forward, we see the Duolingo bird on meth, and the moon from Majora's Mask. It is called Commander 5, and it is question mark level, and we don't know its ability. And the commander says that they should hurry up and enjoy their harvest. And everybody else is kind of staring at him thinking this is some kind of prank. Mal Wang then even lets out some laughter, saying there's no way this is real. From the pyramid, somebody tells Commander 5 that he's wrong. Commander 5 asks what they mean. And they say that those are organisms called humans. They're completely different beings, and they're not the seeds they had planted. And Commander 5 asks what they're saying. The person in the pyramid says that according to the analysis, only 10% of the warriors actually came into fruition. And even those are being eliminated by humans. Meaning that this farming has failed. Commander 5 starts to get pissed, asking how the hell they failed since it took too long to come here. Okay, the Duolingo bird and Pac-Man's creepy unk are two different people. As they call them parasites, saying they will eradicate them all. Mal Wang walks forward, saying that he can't let him keep speaking. Ji-hyun asks what he's doing. And then he says that they should just stay still, as the circus member looking guy is treating them like insects. The bass player tries to get him to stop, as he obviously came in a weird spaceship so he's dangerous. As he gets closer, he stops and calls out to the rest, asking if they're really this scared. The Megadeth boys start to take this as a challenge. And Mal Wang says that teaching kids is his expertise. I'm not gonna lie, I thought Commander 5 was huge. This is the height difference between 5 feet 11 inches and 6 foot. The Duolingo bird says that they won't stand by anymore as an uncivilized bastard speaks to them. Mal Wang yells, pointing to his spaceship, saying that he's gonna get a ticket for illegally parking his spaceship. Duolingo turns, saying that he's already gotten 10. Only to see the ship is not actually being ticketed at all. And Mal Wang hits him with a surprise kick in the back, sending him flying. As he crashes into a nearby wall, Mal Wang asks who he really plans to eradicate. Duolingo gets pissed and runs directly at him, saying that he's going to kill him. Mal Wang tells him to wait, because there's something behind him. Duolingo says that he will not be fooled twice. And then one of the man members hits him with a dumbbell tackle. Mal Wang says that he should have believed him. As Duolingo is flying directly towards the other boys, they hit him with the double swing wombo combo, sending it flying away. As it was an alley-oop directly towards the bass player, who says that he'll finish things off. But instead, Mal Wang shows up, saying that he's his. As he rears back his fist, he says this is his specialty, Horse King Punch. Duolingo locks in, and we start to see a bright blue light emanating in front of Mal Wang's face. Only for Duolingo to shoot out one hell of an energy beam, directly towards Mal Wang and the bass player. We don't get to see if they were hit or not, but Ji-hyun and the rest scream, no. The smoke begins to settle, as we see a giant mark in the terrain from where the attack came out of. And people in the back have been turned to stone, as if they had looked at Medusa. Mal Wang looks down at his shin, asking what kind of joke this is, as his $1 million calf has turned into stone. We finally learn that the bass player's name is Dave. And Mal Wang turns, only to see him reaching out towards him, but now he is completely turned into stone. Mal Wang's eyes look shocked, as we see Dave's bass drop to the floor. He also begins to fall forward, shattering into thousands of pieces, crumbling. The band members and even his little sister start crying. Jihyun and the rest are speechless. As Commander 5 is now preparing yet another energy beam. The little girl runs over, grabbing onto her brother's head. The realization that shit just got real has clicked for Mal Wang. Mal Wang starts to recall all the memories he and Dave shared together, and how every single time he left, he was just so happy to see his warm smile, as the next time would be just as fun. As Dave's head looks filled with fear for Mal Wang's life, his little sister picks it up and starts bawling her eyes out, screaming. So do the other band members, asking what's going on. Commander 5 says that all their chirping is making his ears hurt. He calls them insects, only for him to stop his attack because something catches him off guard. Mal Wang starts to release his own aura, and then shoots up high into the sky, as he's showing every single color possible for the ranking. The guy in the pyramid watches this and laughs, saying this is interesting. As Mal Wang's eyes are filled with tears, he looks as if he's been completely blinded by rage. He then dashes off the ground, coming in with a punch straight towards Commander 5. Duolingo manages to dodge it, and the attack alone shatters the building behind them, and Jihyun recognizes it, saying that this light is the same as back then. He then goes in for another right, which gets sidestepped, and follows up an immediate left, which gets ducked under. Even just the attacks alone are sending debris flying everywhere. Mal Wang lets out a primal scream and comes in for more attacks, which Duolingo dodges, and he says that for an insect, he's not bad. But it's time for him to go to sleep. As he starts to go in for his own counterattack towards Mal Wang, we see it hitting him, sending a shockwave through his back, and he begins to spit up blood. Jihyun yells out for him, as it's his turn now to experience the 7-page Muda. He is getting hit so hard that it's creating ripples all over his body, and it sends him shooting backwards. He crashes into a wall, and one of the band members screams out for him. Duolingo looks impressed, and as Mal Wang starts to step back out immediately, we see blood pouring from all over, and he screams while coming in for another attack. Commander 5 starts laughing, saying that this is very interesting. Jihyun yells, telling Mal Wang to stop, and she begins crying, begging that he listen. And we see Yura's power actually hit Mal Wang. Duolingo is confused by the friendly fire, but we see that it was actually to send Mal Wang flying away. Jihyun yells, asking what she's doing, and we see Yura looking extremely panicked. She says that he's not in his right mind, and she'll do what she can, so they need to hurry and escape. There's only one opponent, but she's also an S rank, so she can't die easily. The pyramid then begins to show some kind of magic circle, and Duolingo looks over, as tons of enemies begin spawning in, as there is now a whole monster horde. The band members can't believe this is happening, and Duolingo clicks his tongue, saying that they are lucky, and unfortunately, he'll end things here, as he has places to go, and he tells his men to eliminate them all. As the circus has now pulled up, the pyramid begins to look as if it's warping away and then vanishes completely, as if it was never there. Jihyun looks completely overwhelmed by the numbers, as the circus begins screaming and completely overpopulating the streets. They start to run forward, and Yura asks why he's standing here, and they need to leave because they're in her way. Her barrier starts to get cracked, and Kiwoong notices this, yelling, telling her to dodge. As the attack starts to come in to kill her, a giant yellow beam shoots in from the back of the crowd, obliterating the monster in front of her, but also anything that was caught in its path. Yura turns surprised, and we see somebody walking forward, saying that he might be too early, since everybody's fine, and regardless, Third Knight in shining armor is here. We are introduced to the S-rank hero, 21st century boy, who is named Johan. His skill is Mecha Maker, and when it comes to machines, he can make anything. Yura asks why the hell he's so late and starts nagging at him, and then he spots a wound on her side and completely tunes her out. As he gets a better look, he sees it's quite deep, and he gets pissed, saying that he can't believe they left a scratch on his lovely fiancée. Jihyun is surprised to hear this word, and Johan begins to say that he will not forgive them, and even more weapons start to get set online, as he shoots out an entire volley of attacks towards the circus. And he says he can't believe they made his darling bleed, as he is obliterating these monsters. He screams, saying they all need to die, as he sends out a giant attack. The little girl still grabbing onto her brother's rock pieces, trying to put him back together, as one of the circus members comes in for an attack. We hear it collide with something, and then we see that somebody has actually stepped up and completely saved her from it. As he's grabbing its head, he looks over towards it and then pops it like a zit, sending juices flying everywhere. He immediately starts ripping apart each and every single one of the monsters with complete ease, and once he's finished, he picks up the little girl. Jihyun instantly recognizes him, and you should as well, because he has been in the background of a lot of gym panels, sitting behind the receptionist's desk. He's even been to the concert, but for the most part, he's always been here, and that it is none other than the manager, who we learn is named Manager Lee. He is a civilian and a non-ability user. Bro is just him. He puts the little girl down beside Yura and Dave's corpse, saying that he'll leave the two of them to her. She asks why he came back, as it's dangerous, and he says that she doesn't need to worry about him, and that he'll go deal with the monsters first. She realizes, after what she just witnessed, that he's not capping, as he immediately pops another one of their heads. The other Megadeth members run in, screaming that this is revenge for Dave, and a whole-out brawl ensues. Yura says that she tells them all that she won't take responsibility if they get hurt, but Jihyun comes in, attacking one of them, saying that she is tired of sitting behind and that she wants to help too, as they need to hurry up and save Malwang. Yura smiles, and we see everybody fighting in their own way. The Megadeth boys are ganging up on them like it's a JJK fight. Manager Lee is just making them kiss. Yura and Jihyun are working together to keep the little girl safe. Johan is also releasing his own attacks. Everybody is working together in unison, to a degree, fulfilling their own roles. After a bit of fighting, it goes quiet, and we see there's nothing but the circus troops' corpses littered across the floor. Johan then yells out to Yura and says that he'll give her a kiss, and she tells him to leave her alone. Jihyun asks if that's her boyfriend, and she says that he isn't. Johan then asks where that guy is, and he's talking about none other than Malwang, because he doesn't see him. As it jumps to a forest, inside of a pond, we see Malwang floating atop it, unconscious, soaked in blood. We see it's not just the one pyramid structure in the sky, but there are multiple scattered throughout, and monsters continue to pour out of them. As we see a civilian hiding before a monster finds her, we see blood flying. It jumps to a TV, and somebody says the situation is bad, as there are simultaneous invasions by monsters all around the world. At this rate, it will only take a month for humanity to lose. This is the Hero Association senior meeting room. One of them says that instead of an invasion, this is a cleanup, and they ask if this means the harvest was pulled ahead of schedule, and if that means they had a leak in their info. But they decide probably not, since the ongoing harvest is going smoothly, and they're just destroying what's in front of them, and it doesn't look like they've noticed. One thing that bothers them though, is that this wave is being led by a general, and if they let things continue, Earth will definitely be destroyed, and they cannot delay it any longer, asking how the samples are. They start pulling up a bunch of users' cards on the screen, and they're discussing user 1608, and apparently, they are in the process of hatching. Apparently a guy named Black is keeping an eye on 1608, but there's a problem. If the Union finds out about this, they could consider the alliance over, and they can't get ahead of themselves, and they decide that they should order some food real quick, but realize that all the restaurants are closed. Back to the circus invasion, we see a bird flying before it breaks its neck on a wall and falls to the floor. The monsters start communicating, asking each other if they've found anything, but they say they haven't. I think it's funny, they communicate, duh, noises. We see a building being hidden by one of Johan's robots, and inside, Yura is pissed. She says that the city is in an awful state, and the association isn't even picking up, and this is why she quit. Jihyun tells her there aren't any alerts either, and she wonders if something happened to the association. This is the only thing she can do in this situation. Kiwoong says they're all being healed, and this is more than enough. Kiwoong says he's more worried about this little guy. We see the cat laying in his lap, but Jihyun says that no matter what she does, it's not healing. Johan enters, saying that it's all thanks to that horse-headed scumbag. She says that was quick, asking about the Megadeth guys, and he says that he hid them well, and that his ears are still ringing. He can't believe they were all grown-ass men. Since they're all sitting out there crying and screaming. Yura asks what Malwang said a while ago about the cat. He immediately simps, saying that people refer to the cat as a cryptid, and he doesn't know how that asshole has one, given how precious they are, but cryptids aren't simple pets. They're beings that share everything with their owner, even their emotions and pain, like they are connected and cannot be separated, just like him and Yura. She starts cringing, and Jihyun says that the Horse King did seem a bit off. Kiwoong says that he can't help it because of what happened to Dave. Jihyun asks if they were that close, and Kiwoong says they were, as Dave was Malwang's mentor. We get a flashback to a very scrawny Malwang confessing his love to a woman, but she reaches for the flowers and beats him with them instead. She calls him disgusting, saying that he should never show his face in front of her again. He says it's always like this. Nobody ever recognizes his sincere love. He decides to swear off of it, but when he looks to his left, he spots a pretty woman, and says that she's totally his type. Then he sees Dave in his makeup, telling him to go to hell, and the women tell him to stop acting like this. Malwang just wonders why women are with him, even though he looks like that, and there's no way he's anything other than a dating expert. Malwang immediately runs over in front of him and grovels, saying that he wants to love too, wanting him to teach him. The women tell Dave that he's scary and they should leave, but he can tell how sincere Malwang's face is, and he apologizes to the women, saying that today's date will end here. He then crouches down in front of Malwang, saying that he should come with him, and that he should build him up to become a proper man. The easiest way to appeal to the opposite sex is to have beautiful, rock-hard muscles, and that he will be reborn here. We get a little montage of Malwang being trained by Dave endlessly. This leg press form is the type of shit you see on a gym fail video, and we're expected to believe that after this whole week of training, he had this transformation, and Dave claps, saying that he's finally worth looking at, and at least they're done with the basic preparations. Malwang says all those trenbolone sandwiches were worth it, and Dave tells him to take this outfit as it begins with this suit, and it's the final piece of the puzzle to make him a real man, and he will now be a true dating misfit, but corrects himself to say master, and he should go say hello to his love today. As we see a girl on a bench waiting, he says it's a coincidence that she was just walking by. She looks surprised. As we see he's got a hella colorful jacket on, and his face is all painted, and he tells her not to be too surprised, as this is the smell of a real man, and only one woman gets to have this privilege, and she is one. She looks absolutely infatuated with him. But back to the present, we see Malwang still floating in the pond, screaming to stop and no, while he's slumped out. Dave asks how he failed, as the plan is a 100% success rate. He wonders what's up with this woman, and he can't believe she didn't get drunk off of his scent. Malwang though is defeated, saying that he doesn't know what to do. Dave starts wiping off his makeup, saying this is the ultimate technique, and it's been verified by more than over 30 women being rated 200 out of 100, and he can't believe it, just wondering exactly where it went wrong to begin with. Malwang realizes when he takes off his makeup that this dude is just good looking, and starts laughing to himself. Dave asks what's wrong, but Malwang continues, and says that he's just a piece of shit con artist, and he's gonna kill him. Dave tries to explain it, but Malwang just screams, telling him to shut the hell up. He's still having a nightmare, and yells, saying to run away. Kiwoong says that he just wonders how Malwang felt when he lost Dave, and Jihyun wonders in what part of the story did they get close in. Yura says that the point is, Malwang is not in a good place right now, and they need to go find him. Johan says that's impossible, as he doesn't even know where he is right now, and he tried looking with a drone, but he's nowhere near here, and that surely they saw what was happening outside. Yura says that she will go look for herself, and if he's gone, she doesn't know what she will do, and she starts breaking down. Jihyun wonders if there's no other way, and Johan says that he's a genius, not a god. Somebody then starts to enter the building, and Kiwoong immediately gets a chill run down his spine. As we see him vanish in the next panel, we hear the Heart King asking if anyone here ordered a handful of love, and that he'll gently embrace their wounds. They're just confused why he's here, and he asks why they are all gathered here instead of what he smelled, as he followed the scent of a man starved for love. There's no way his radar is broken. Johan is just confused, asking how he got here, as he hid the entire building with a hologram. The Heart King laughs, saying that nobody and nothing can stop the power of love, as his hair starts pointing directly towards the side, and he wonders what his radar is pointing at, as we see a locker shaking inside with Ki-woong who's watching. POV, you are playing out last. The Heart King appears directly in front of it, and says that he finally found his love-starved man, and the rest just watches as he gets actually assaulted, but Jihyun thinks of something after seeing how the Heart King found Ki-woong. Bro actually just got assaulted with kisses, that's crazy. Jihyun calls out to him, and the Heart King says that he's having a feast, and she should stop by later. But she's looking at his radar and says that that's the key. Later we see him carrying her, and he says to stop touching him because women turn him off. And he's just saying this in case, but even if it's her, if she tries to put a move on him, she cuts him off, telling him to watch out for the monsters. As we see some more of the circus boys coming in for an attack. She closes her eyes out of fear, but they immediately both get dealt with by the Heart King in an instant, and he's only using his legs. Jihyun asks if the signal is still far away as they leave the circus troupe, and she starts tightening her grip on his shoulders, and he says that he'd already told her to stop. And the Heart King just keeps reprimanding her for being a bitch for not listening. Back to Mal Wang, he hears someone asking if he's having fun. And when he comes to, he realizes that he's ankle deep in blood, and they continue asking if he's having fun, and if he thinks he's some kind of superhero. He starts freaking out because he hates blood, and the person asks if he's getting full of himself. Mal Wang asks who he is, wondering why he is scaring him, saying he's a freak. And the dudes continue ripping into him, saying that he's not even an alpha male. As he starts to appear from the blood, we see none other than a white version of Mal Wang standing directly behind him, which freaks him out. He says that he can't even watch this, calling him a scammer. Mal Wang gets scared and hits him with a punch straight to the face, sending him flying. He apologizes, saying that he shouldn't have surprised him. Ghost Mal Wang is holding onto his cheek, saying that shit low-key hurt, but Mal Wang recalls as he gets a memory of him when he was younger, getting bullied by a group of kids in school. As he sees it starting to overlap, he's just confused by what the hell's going on. They even hit him in the back of the head with a banana peel, and they just start spitting their food on him as well. Mal Wang is obviously extremely panicked, because they keep asking him questions, and he starts groveling, his head pretty much lower into the pool of blood. Mal Wang was just staring up there, saying that there's no way, wondering why he's seeing flashbacks of him in his school days. They start kicking the shit out of him, saying that he's a loser. The voice from earlier says that's correct, and that he's just a loser. Mal Wang asks who the hell he even is, and he's been so nosy since earlier, wondering what he's trying to do, and realizes that this must be a dream. He punches himself, and then waits a minute, but nothing happens. Him from his school days asks what he means by a dream, telling him to look in his eyes, as he's nothing more than a skinny, scrawny, punching bag of a lackey, wondering where he thinks he has the right to play the main character, acting like an idiot. Mal Wang tells him to shut up, wondering what nonsense that is, and he walks backwards, bumping into something. That is none other than Dave's statue, who says that he can't believe a lackey is giving him trouble. Dave's statue says that his sheep thinks he's becoming a hero by acting up, and that his entire lifestyle of being a real man is ridiculous, and that this all started because of him in the first place, and that he should have died because of someone like Mal Wang calling him a villain. But Mal Wang is obviously riddled with guilt and fear, making him closes his eyes. But when he opens them again, he's confused because he's now sitting on a train, wondering what's going on. As the train continues, for some reason even Jesus is on there getting whipped, and he even sees someone else cosplaying Akira, and gets confused, wondering why these subway villains are here. This is a reference to Akira where people dress up in cosplay, and they're considered villains. Someone calls out to him, and he looks up, only to see Yura, and he says that she's being a public nuisance. She tells him to stop bossing her around, cause he's just a powerless villain. He wonders when he started bossing her around, and she just continues asking why he's talking back when he has no skills. We hear someone yelling off to the side, saying they got fooled. They rip into him saying, he is not only a loser, but also a villain. But the person says that even villains have standards, and it's like he's one but not at the same time, and that he's just complete trash. It's none other than Ki-woong. Mal Wang wonders what's going on, and why everybody keeps yapping about villain nonsense. Someone else tells everybody to sit down as he bursts into the room, and we see him holding a baton, and he is the line 1 regulatory villain, asking if they found one, and if they want to die. Everybody keeps weighing down on him, calling him a troublemaker, and even Dave's little sister appears, saying that's all because of him. Manager Lee appears, calling him a pervert. While the train regulator is trying to get everybody to sit down, they continue. Mal Wang says that he's not any of these things they're calling him out to be. Obviously, he's having some kind of mental bout, and it's just weighing down on him too much, and he yells saying that he was just trying to protect everyone. And they ask how he was meant to try to protect them when he's just muttering nonsense, and he shouldn't even pretend that he doesn't know that he is the one who killed Dave. But this is probably why he's having all these delusions anyways. Back to reality, Jihyun is trying to shake him, getting him to wake up. She says this is bad, as he's completely unconscious, and they should get him to the hospital. But Heart King says to wait, and that he isn't actually unconscious, and the hospital won't fix this. She asks what he means, and he says that it's kind of like a deep sleep, but it's a bit different. She tells him to explain, and he says that it's a woman's intuition. She asks what he's talking about, and he tells her to focus, and then surely she can see how glistening his lips are. This is one of those scenarios where the prince is under a witch's curse and has fallen into a deep slumber, and the only way is to wake him up with the princess's kiss. She smacks the piss out of him, saying to get the hell away, and then realizes that she didn't mean to send him that far and apologizes. She then wonders if maybe he's right, and puts her hand on his chest, and tells him to wait for a while, and she'll definitely heal him, and she begins casting her ability. Meanwhile, everybody else is getting an alert about an A rank or higher monster approaching them, and Johan says this is crazy. Yura starts telling everybody to watch out, as there's a giant explosion sending everybody flying out of the building. He starts trying to tell her to get it together, as they're now all bloodied, and Kiwoong wonders just what happened, and when he looks up, he's surprised as two giant clowns are coming in with attacks. They punch directly where he is, but we see that they were actually blocked by Manager Lee, and it's crazy that this guy doesn't actually have any powers, he's just built different. He starts spitting up blood, and the two enemies give each other a look before one of them dashes, taking Manager Lee off to the side. Kiwoong screams no, but gets distracted as the other one goes to attack him. Johan quickly flies by with his jetpack, snagging him, and he says that he didn't think they'd get caught so soon, that these are not just ordinary monsters, as it closes the distance and cuts them off, coming in for another attack. He realizes he can't dodge it, and they all get hit, sent flying backwards. He starts scraping against the ground. His machine is now broken, so he can't escape, and it comes in to finish the job on Yura. As it's raising its foot, stomping down to eliminate her, we see it come into contact with something, sending debris flying everywhere. The monster is amused, wondering what this is, as we see its foot on somebody's back, and it was none other than Kiwoong, who asks if this is the end for him. He wanted to die a cool death like his role models, who made their protagonist shine, but still it was a good life, and that maybe in his next life he'll get the dream he wanted. But off on the rooftop, somebody's scarf is hanging around, and we see there's actually another hero on site. Kiwoong spots him, and we learn that his name is Red Mask, and he has the ability to mimic skills of fictional action heroes. Imagine how broken that could be. The red clown turns, and Kiwoong realizes this is his chance, and he grabs Yura, and starts running away super manly like, and yells, telling Red Mask now. Red Mask though stands there silently, before saying, nah. Kiwoong asks why, and a punch comes flying in, sending him flying away, and he drops Yura. As he starts spitting out blood, he asks Camera 1 how it is. Camera 1 says that it's perfect, and the angle is great, as Blue is kicking the shit out of Manager Lee. Camera 2 is filming Yura knocked out. They even have a drone on standby, and Kiwoong asks why they aren't helping yet, as Manager Lee is getting his shit cooked. They start the countdown from 10 seconds, and Red Mask is getting prepared for his scene. His assistant tells him that he's ready, and he says not yet. Manager Lee is getting crippled while he watches. Johan is trying to escape with Yura, Red Mask is watching it all unfold, and Kiwoong is making a horrified expression, which the cameraman compliments, saying that it needs to look even more desperate. We get a flashback to Red Mask getting complimented on how he's getting better by the day, and he looks down at someone, saying they did great too. It's none other than Kiwoong. Remember, he is an actor on a show, it's Red Mask's show. The guy says that his expressions were great, and he really got scared for a second. Kiwoong thanks him, and Red Mask tells him that there's no need for him to thank him, because he's a hero and only gets to shine because of the shitty villain. Kiwoong asks what he's talking about, and Red Mask says he's just joking, and the viewers are going to love this one, and he'll look forward to the next as well, so that he can shine even brighter, and he wants to show everyone that justice always triumphs. Ki-woong thought this was so cool, and we see some kids tuning in on their phone, saying that it's starting in 5 seconds. They start a countdown, and Red Mask appears on a live stream, and he tells nobody to be afraid, as he won't let anybody die. He flies into action, hitting a superhero landing, saying that he will fight again today to save just one more person, and he starts to do his catchphrase of hottest flames, fast as lightning, but he gets cut off by Ki-woong calling him an asshole, and a piece of shit, asking what the hell he's even doing. The cameraman asks him what's wrong with him, and Ki-woong calls him a piece of shit once more, saying that he needs to get a grip, and that he's nothing but a damn fraud, and he's weak as hell, and would lose a fight to a scarecrow. Bro is just starting to bulk up while rapid fire hurling insults at him, and he says that they're all just gonna die today, and that's fine with him, he guesses. The cameraman asks what he's doing, as he's messing with the audio. Ki-woong tells him his zipper is open. When the guy looks down, he realizes it was a lie, as Ki-woong flies in, kneeing him in the face, asking why he's bowing at him. The other dudes are just confused, and they thought he was an innocent civilian, and Ki-woong starts laughing, saying that that's a joke, and all of them need to kneel, as they want a villain, he'll give them a real one. The cameraman gets scared, and the clowns are still speaking in da-da, but say that his face is similar to the merciless legend of the Demon Lord, the trashiest personality in the universe. The drone operator tells Red Mask to pause, but he says that they will continue. A villain that even threatens the camera crew, some even more than those monsters, and this is great, and he thought he looked familiar, and he's someone who takes a real nice beating, so this will be a good one. He yells, calling him a vile villain, saying that he better stop. Ki-woong says of course he's vile, since he is a villain after all. Johan wonders what the hell he's watching, and Red Mask says that he expected nothing less from him, and he hits him with a beam of peace, telling him to disappear. Ki-woong instantly gets behind him, and Red Mask says he expected that, as he tries to counter with an elbow to the face. Ki-woong is holding onto the cameraman by the throat, saying that he didn't expect this though. Red Mask stops and says that a hostage situation is truly evil. Ki-woong says of course he's evil, because he's a villain. He then throws the cameraman at him, sending them both flying. Dumb and Dumber are watching, saying that he's even more evil than they are. The other cameraman starts yelling for Red Mask, and Red Mask says in the name of justice, he won't forgive him. He gives the cameraman the okay sign, and he's immediately feeling relieved. Red Mask dashes back in, telling him to prepare himself, and Ki-woong says that's what he needs to tell him. Red Mask punches, which Ki-woong dodges underneath, and they start having an all-out brawl, trading blow for blow. It looks pretty even. Even Manager Lee says that he might actually win. Johan asks what he's so nonchalant for, as Red Mask is a B-rank hero. He's acting while hiding his true power, and he's doing this to create a dramatic moment. It looks like he's right, as he's starting to get the advantage. Red Mask says that he really did a number on him, but it's time to finish this now. As his punches send Ki-woong flying backwards, he says that oh great nature, the time has come. The cameraman realizes this is his ultimate ability. Red Mask is literally just the avatar, saying fire, water, wind, and earth, give me strength. As he's starting to wrap all of the elements around his fist, the cameraman hypes it up, saying that this is the element punch, and he flies in with the avatar's entire plot on his fist, and hurtles it straight down towards Ki-woong. Ki-woong isn't moving yet, and Johan says that it's over. But instead, he gets hit in the face by the two clowns, and everybody's surprised by what just happened. Even the kids on the live stream, as Red Mask gets his mask blown off, and his nose looks broken, and he gets yamcha'd from the punches. They even strike a cool pose to protect Ki-woong. The live stream immediately cuts to a standby. The two clowns then start kneeling, and greet the Demon Lord, wanting him to accept their loyalty. After Lee and Johan are speechless, Ki-woong hesitates for a second, and starts laughing at the title Demon Lord, saying that he'll do it then, and go for world domination. The clowns start to laugh, and they start hitting a little dance, unleashing crazy aura. Then a mallet comes in, hitting all of them, flattening them, and Yura calls them idiots, saying that the show's over. Back to Mal Wang in his dream world. He sees his past self floating up to the top of the blood water, and he's just beating the shit out of it, and says how many times does he have to say that he's already scared, and they need to stop. Bro just beat up a ghost. A bright light starts to appear in the sky. When he looks up, he sees a giant golden cross, and a bald old man starts to descend. Mal Wang asks if this is Jesus, and if his 5 years of perfect attendance at summer Bible camp finally paid off. But he didn't expect God to be bald. Instead, a woman starts to descend with Jihyun's face and wings. Mal Wang is completely lost now. She asks what he's doing. He says that he's so relieved she's here, and he was so scared. She tells him to stop, and the white version of himself is asking why he brought back up. Jihyun asks if he wants to die, and if not, to shut up, and stand aside. He immediately folds, saying that he misread the room. Outside, we see that she's actually still healing him. She can feel his energy, but she can also feel fear and dread, but now there's something unknown looming around. Heart King is sweating, going to give him a smooch, and she stops him, saying that she's gonna go help Mal Wang soon. Mal Wang begins spitting up blood, and she wonders what's going on, as there's a red and white aura starting to coalesce on his abdomen. She calls them dark and cold energies, and she says they're mixing into Mal Wang's own, each energy swirling around as if they're fighting each other, and she wonders what's going on, as he continues to spit up blood. Back inside his mind, Jihyun asks if he knows what's going on outside. In a cold sweat, he says that he does, and so does the white version of him. She says that he knows that, yet he's still sitting here yapping, and messing around. Mal Wang says that he doesn't want to, but this bastard keeps bringing up the past, and messing with him. Whitey tells him to get his facts straight, it's because he's a loser freak, caught up in himself, and his attitude that screwed everyone up. Jihyun yells, telling them to shut up already, and they immediately get back on their knees. She says that both of them just keep talking, and they should just stop with all the yapping, and fight it out like real men. They wonder if she means a brawl, but she says she means his gym rats. And she summons a whole gym, saying that it's a competition of the big three. Mal Wang says that this is definitely the stronger gym, and she says the first will be deadlifts. The rules are simple. Go one at a time, but increase the weight each time, and the minimum increase should be 10 kilograms. You only get one chance. If you fail, you lose, asking if there are any questions. Whitey goes to ask one, but she ignores him, saying, if there are none, then they should go ahead, and start. Mal Wang immediately starts heavy with 450 kilograms, and Whitey asks what kind of crazy bastard would do that. Mal Wang says he's gonna end this quickly, and Mal Wang unleashes his secret technique, and rolls the weight forward like an ab roller. She says that he's done, and calls up the Tofu Horse King instead, because he's white, and says that he has a lack of imagination, and this is his internal world, asking if he forgot. As he wins, Mal Wang tells him that he shouldn't get cocky, because he just warmed up. They then start with the bench press. Mal Wang does 200 kilograms, Tofu does 400 kilograms, then they start jumping up the weight to 450 kilograms, to 500 kilograms, all the way up to 600 kilograms, and finally with 700 kilograms Mal Wang wins. Tofu says that he knows this is a webtoon, but this is a little much. Mal Wang says it's 1-to-1, and Tofu says that he's right. Deity Jihyun says that now they're even, but they need to stop because there's no time to lose, and people are dying outside, so they need to move on to squats. Tofu says he'll go first. Mal Wang is surprised, as Tofu grips the bar and says playtime is over. As bro has so much weight on the bar, and effortlessly does it, and he says it's 1 ton, and he can't wait for Mal Wang to try to one-up him. Mal Wang says this is cheating, and Tofu says that his 700 kilograms bench press is the same. Tofu then slams the weight down, causing it to crack the floor, and Mal Wang looks nervous. He falls to his knees, and Tofu asks if he's trying to give up, and he laughs, saying that admitting defeat isn't bad, but now he knows how trashy he is. Instead, Mal Wang digs his hands into the pavement, and Tofu asks what he's doing, if he's trying to gain momentum or something, calling it a joke. Mal Wang starts grunting, and we see a pole shoot out from each side of the building, latching onto the nearby building. Tofu wonders what's going on, saying this is too much, as this is 4,000 tons, as he's about to try squatting 2 whole buildings. Mal Wang starts pulling the bar, and it starts to come up from underneath the ground. He manages to put it on his back, and Tofu says there's no way, as he's starting to push up. Tofu says there's no way he can do it. Malwang starts screaming, and Tofu asks if he's not learned his lesson, since he's trying to act cool again, and he knows better than anyone that he can't do anything, and he wonders how many times he has to tell him this, and if he's still that dense. Malwang, though, just tells him to shut up as he tries anyways. Tofu tells him to get it through his head that this is impossible. Malwang says that he's born a man, and his balls are wasted on him, so he should keep whining, and he'll show him if he watches. Tofu shakes, saying it's always been like this. It'd be so much easier to simply give up, and Dave died, yet he's doing this again. Malwang says that he knows this whole thing is tiring and painful, and he's sure it looks stupid to most. Nothing will change if he whines about it, and if he has the time to yap, then he can also clench his teeth and take a step forward, as they're still young, and have a bright future ahead of them. Tofu starts crying manly tears, and realizes that he's right. He then starts absolutely sobbing, calling him a stupid bastard, telling him to go ahead, and get it up, and he just needs to lift this piece of concrete. Malwang smiles, and Tofu asks if he's happy losing to him. Deity Jihyun tells him to stop being dramatic as she grabs his pants, and starts to give him the ultimate wedgie, telling him to finish this quickly. It actually causes the buildings to start swirling around. Malwang realizes that his balls are in danger if the wedgie continues anymore, and squeezes with everything he's got, and stomps the floor, shattering it beneath him, causing Tofu to fall down, screaming. He wonders what this ridiculous power is, as the buildings aren't going to last, and what he sees as he's falling down is a tiger lifting the two buildings with ease, and he grins, saying that it's just as he thought. He expected this much of him, as Malwang successfully hit the 4,000-ton squat. Even if it's in his head, that's crazy work. Back to reality, the real Jihyun is surprised, as Malwang is standing before her. He takes some deep breaths, and the stone on his leg starts to fall off, and he says that he overcame it, and he thanks her, saying that he told her he'd keep his promise. She starts blushing, and then calls him gross and cringy, but Heart King says this man's pheromones are making him want to act up. Malwang then turns, realizing which way he has to go. It jumps to the Duolingo bird and he's curious how the parasites are still breathing, as he's talking about Johan and the rest. Yura says this is going to be really dangerous, and Malwang tells Jihyun he'll see her later. She asks what he's doing, and he starts taking off at Mach 5. Heart King calls him sexy, as Malwang is dashing to go save everybody this time. Everybody's just staring up at him, and Dumb and Dumber wonder if he maybe realized they betrayed him, deciding to just stay hidden for now. Someone talks over the radio, saying that the Duolingo bird seems overwhelmed, and there's no way he's gonna lose to humans. He yells, telling him to shut up, as he's not even doing anything. They say that he may be yelling, but he seems to have sustained heavy casualties. He can tell he's stretched quite thin, and he could send support if he needs it. This pisses Duolingo off, and he jumps off the building, landing on the ground beside all of them, saying that he should just watch as he'll take care of them all in a blink of an eye. Johan says that he just needs 3 minutes, as something's on its way. Yura asks if he has something in mind, saying that she can try to hold him for 3 minutes, but Kiwoong asks what's gone into her, as he's not finished with his villain role yet, so he'll step up first. He says villain, but he looks kind of like a hero right now. Yura wonders what he's still talking about, and if he's half asleep. Johan also tells him to get a grip, and he should stop with the bullshit and sit down, asking why he's trying to act cool. But Kiwoong is just eating it all up, saying that this is it, and he starts putting on his Demon King smile. Dumb and Dumber say that their Demon Lord is back, and Kiwoong charges in, saying he's gonna deal with the frog first. He swings, which Duolingo ducks underneath, calling him uncivilized, and returns with a gut punch. He then grabs him by the head, telling him that it's time to sleep, as he slams his shit straight into the concrete. Manager Lee yells out for him, and Kiwoong is actually buried in the concrete right now. Duolingo turns around, saying that he should just stay down. But then he hears the debris falling and gets a chill run down his spine, as Kiwoong is standing up directly behind him. He wonders what's with his aura, and how he survived that attack, and why he's looking down at him. He hits him with another gut punch, sending him flying. One of his minions starts cheering him on, saying that he's got this, but Kiwoong starts laughing, saying there's no way they think they've won, and this is the best he's ever felt. He's never had this much dopamine, and he can't stop himself. Duolingo starts charging in, lifting a bunch of rocks, saying that playtime is over. He begins to wave his hands, as he is now wailing on him with his telekinesis, hitting Ki-woong all over, telling him to die. Ki-woong begins spitting up blood. Manager Lee wonders if he got him, and he yells it out loud enough, causing Duolingo to turn, confused. And Ki-woong comes in with an eye gouge, which gets dodged. He then gets hit with Luffy's Gum Gum Gatling, and Yura does the same thing, yelling, asking if he got him. Ki-woong keeps his footing, and Duolingo wonders what they keep yelling about. But Ki-woong says that this power is never ending, and he's never felt this before. He is now a B-rank hero, called the Demon Lord, and it turns out that he becomes stronger the more cliché lines he hears from the action hero genre. They all start chanting, "Did he get him?" over and over. And Ki-woong is just walking through Duolingo's punches, and even his boys start hyping him up as well. He dodges underneath one of the kicks and returns with a jumping headbutt. Duolingo starts reeling from that one, and punches him, sending him flying, calling him a useless insect. And the other guy in the ship says, "Oh well." As Duolingo starts bleeding, he looks down, realizing that the attacks managed to hit. Pac-Man starts charging an attack on his stomach. Yura, realizing that's what killed Dave, tells Ki-woong to run, as the attack flies in toward him. It puts a hole in the wall, and she drops to her knees, thinking that he's dead. Then one of the men says that they've won, but Duolingo stops him because that's a flag. From the attack, we hear Mal Wang, saying that he made it just in time. And Duolingo is surprised. Ki-woong is immediately out of his Demon Lord phase, looking up at Mal Wang like he's in love or something, as Mal Wang says that he was in some real danger. This is definitely the wrong panel. This is out of some shoujo series. Even Yura is super excited, but Johan is more curious about the cat, saying that it is a super evolved cryptid. Saying that he managed to do it. Mal Wang asks what the hell is this thing on him, and starts tweaking. And Duolingo says that he doesn't know how he came back to life, but he's just gonna kill him once again. As he goes to attack, Mal Wang dodges instantly, getting behind him, saying that he's too slow. Duolingo turns, and Mal Wang dodges underneath the kick and returns with a punch, saying that it's nighty-night for him. And this time, Duolingo is the one hit by the punch and sent flying. He wonders what kind of humiliation this is, telling his boys to jump their shit. As even more of the circus pulls up, they start running in. Only for something to drop down from the sky, named Mecha Yura. Crushing them. Johan says that it got here just in time, and they all better prepare themselves. And the password is, Yura is his forever. It approves it, and Yura just looks pissed. And it starts to open up the box, as the robot starts to slowly reveal itself. And he says this is the product of her love and his genius. It is the Mecha Yura, and he's about to hit the tango with her. She looks identical. Corporate wants you to spot the difference between these two images. He combines their names, calling it the Jura Jr. Yura goes to kill him, but Manager Lee stops her. He continues his tango dance, causing her to spin, shooting beams through the army of circus freaks. He then hits her with the dip, and she fires up a laser, shooting it out. Bro thinks he looks so cool right now. Duolingo is just pissed though, saying that he won't forgive him. And Mal Wang says that actually surprised him, and that he's gonna end them all once and for all. As he's charging the same attack that killed Dave, but this time he's absorbing so much more energy. But the cryptid starts to form something of its own above its head, as a giant orb begins swirling violently. Yura asks what that is, and Johan says that Mal Wang's about to do something. As Mal Wang reaches his hand into the orb, Johan explains that the cryptid's powers are channeled through its owner. A super-evolved cryptid is able to fluidly channel its owner's potential skills. And she asks what he means, and he says that he'd never seen this in person before, and it sure is interesting. Her eyes start to light up. What Mal Wang pulls out is something they all instantly recognize, saying, "No way," as he pulls out a giantess pig hoof. Saying that there's no way this is his potential. Duolingo starts screaming, asking what this is, and Mal Wang tells him to look over. Duolingo shoots out the attack, sending it launching straight toward him. Mal Wang readies himself, like he's about to swing a baseball bat, and he swings the pig foot forward, saying that he's not going to resist this. Just the shockwave causes everybody to have to brace themselves, and Mal Wang continues to push through, as his body starts to get petrified. Yura yells, screaming no, but Malwang smiles, saying that this is nothing. He and the pig foot are completely medusa'd now, but it starts to glow brightly. He breaks through it, carrying his momentum, and swings down toward Duolingo, not sure if it hit though. Absolutely destroying the entire city in its path, getting a Saitama-level reaction, and an out-of-Earth view. Almost blasting Bro to orbit with that attack. Duolingo is just praying, because he narrowly avoided it. And Malwang leaps up into the air to go finish the overhead attack. As Duolingo is looking up at it, he spots Malwang's bulge, saying that it's so big and majestic. What the hell? And as he continues staring at it, he says that he needs to have it. Malwang lets out a primal scream and swings down. Of course, he misses once more, but destroys the area behind him. Back at the spaceship, we see the general in his chair, and he starts laughing at the vibration, because the ship is low-key starting to shake a little bit. Even Heart King is wondering what this vibration is, and Jihyun recognizes it, saying that this is Malwang's energy, and she believed in him, and that she knew he would come through. As the city's still falling in ruin, we see that Duolingo died an honorable death, staring at a bulge, and Malwang wonders what he should do, as he ended up winning. He looks up, and we see the other commander staring down at him from one of the pyramid-like structures. Malwang looks up at the pyramid structure and asks the dude to step out instead of being a shut-in. The guy then exits the pyramid and glares down at him. The general asks if Duolingo was defeated. The dude say that's correct. He wonders if there was something special, and they say that there's a clear difference from other cultivars. To survive repetitive battle environments, the locals here seem to have undergone self-evolution in various ways. The general laughs at the term evolution, and the man continues, saying that though they don't know the reason yet, he believes they are worth further study. The general tells him that's a waste of time. An insect will only amount to be an insect. It might become an ant twice as big, or a fly that flies 3 times faster, but those little games are meaningless, unless the 7th Corps commander is saying that there is an insect stronger than him. He looks down at Malwang and thinks about it, and says no, sir. The general says that's strange, asking if he is feeling compassion for insects. He asks the general what he's talking about. The general tells him that was just a slip of the tongue. As we get a flashback of a village burning to the ground, and the survivors looking horrified. A man who looks just like the 7th Corps commander is asking why. As he begins spitting up blood, he gets cut into literal pieces, as we see the 7th Corps commander is the one who did it. It turns out this was his family, and he massacred his entire clan. The general tells him to never forget that stench on his fingers, and his sister sat there crying, looking up at him. The general says he trusts him, and the commander leaps down onto the ground. The cryptid meows, and Malwang says he knows that much already, and that they are in real danger, as this guy is much stronger than Duolingo. Since Duolingo is dead, I'm just gonna call this guy commander. He says nothing has changed. He starts to stomp the floor, generating immense pressure that makes everybody tense up and start to have trouble breathing. He raises his foot, taking another step, shattering the ground beneath him, and the pressure increases with each and every step. It begins to increase to the point that they all watch helplessly as he walks past Yura and Johan. Nobody can move a single muscle as he's walking by them all, and he says he's not interested in trash. He then hears something, glares back, seeing Dumb and Dumber, and reaches his hands out toward them, realizing they've been spotted. They apologize before they start spitting up blood and get sent flying through the air. They're just surprised that he attacked his comrades, but not just that he did it from range and in an instant. Yura says that her body can't move and this is dangerous. Her heart starts racing, but Malwang is leaping at the commander from overhead and swings down, generating a massive shockwave. But it was futile, as Malwang's face and body look pained, and he drops his pig foot. We see that he is palmed by both wrists with a single hand, and he asks if this is all he's got. As he raises him into the air, he says that if he values his life, he better answer him. He's awakened beyond the ordinary physical capabilities of humans, asking how it's possible that he surpassed a defined limit. Malwang asks what he's babbling about, and if he's curious, then he has to give him 501. And he knees him in the face. Malwang looks surprised though, because he caught his knee, and the commander tells him that he had his chance. He then slams him down onto the floor and immediately rears back his fist, going in for an attack, hitting Malwang, causing him to spit up even more blood. As the commander continues walking forward, Yura yells, "No!" The commander then raises his hand as a giant tiger's claw forms overhead, and he says that this is such a waste. As he is still prepping the attack, he tells him goodbye. He swings down, it starts flying straight in. What a cool ass attack. Mal Wang seems pained, but a light comes in, but the attack continues anyways. The commander is then surprised by something, as the pig trotter has been picked back up, and Mal Wang laughs, saying the protagonist always revives. As Jihyun is healing him, allowing him to fight back, the commander is surprised, wondering what this aura is. As it envelops Mal Wang, we see on his bulge too, the tiger's eyes light up, and it starts to release a howling roar. The commander is surprised because it starts to push his attack back, as the tiger's body starts to destroy his attack. Mal Wang tells him that he better enjoy this while it lasts, because this is his full force, and he cleaves through the attack again, doing a Saitama-level swing. The commander, though, levitates to avoid it, as his attack starts falling to the floor. Jihyun apologizes for being late. Mal Wang tells her that was a close call, but he's glad that the beautiful heroine is here. The Heart King asks if this is the dude who scratched his husband. And the Megadeth members ask if anybody needs background music, as their truck lands beside them. They all start screaming, "Go to hell," as we see them fully ready for a concert. And we hear Dave's little sister saying they can't leave them out of the spotlight. Mal Wang's surprised, as she's fully into it now, saying that they can't have a hellbound drive without music, and rock will never die. Johan asks who that is, but Yura recognizes her voice, saying that this is Dave's sister. I can't believe this is the same person. It is now season 2 of Megadeth. Mal Wang laughs, asking the commander what was his question again. And if it was how he surpassed his limits, he'll just beat it into him and he can listen well. He asks what he thinks the reason they won't fall, no matter how exhausted or beaten down they are is. And if it's because of their sense of justice, that's just wrong. It's not the expectations, or criticisms, or even the support they receive. They don't care what it is. It's because they live off of all of that attention. In other words, everybody here is just an attention seeker. And that is the reason they are evolving. And he tells the commander, prepare himself, as he's about to give them their attention. What the hell does that even mean? Mal Wang then asks commander if he could get down here, and everybody just kind of face plants. The Megadeth people though tell him to stop avoiding them like a coward, and get closer. The rest decide to go with it, telling him to get down here. And Johan calls them idiots, asking if they're insane, and there's no way he would just come down because they're shouting. Of course, he does exactly that as he lands. And Johan says that he can't believe bro is so obedient. Heart King then runs in, saying that's a new cosmic scent, and he can't resist it. So he'll wrap him up in love, only for him to get swatted away like a fly. He crashes into a nearby building. Jihyun screams out for him. The commander says that Earth is more amusing the longer he's here. To not lose positivity even in the face of overwhelming fear, it sadly makes him wonder, even after their limbs are broken, or if every muscle in their body is torn apart, if they would still be able to laugh the way they are now. As we see some transformation in the shadow, Kiwoong says that this is really cool, he is a big fan of villain transformations. Johan says this is what they get for provoking him for no reason, but Yura says that they shouldn't be scared, as there's a saying that even in a lion's den to keep your wits. But she immediately stops that thought as she sees how big this dude's mouth is, and that he's actually turned into a giant lion. This is a skill called monster transformation that allows him to unleash his overwhelming power beyond his original form at will. He is a question mark ranked monster. She laughs because she was talking about a lion, and here he is. She says that she wished she knew about this earlier. Commander then gets down into a sprinting stance, saying that he wants to see the look at their faces in terror as he dashes through the entire group, aiming straight for Mal Wang, taking him into a building. Mal Wang says that startled him, and the commander is surprised that he actually blocked the attack. Mal Wang says a sneak attack is unexpected, and he hates to break it to him, but it didn't work. The commander then gets smacked away by Mal Wang with his counterattack, and Mal Wang says that this is a content-worthy moment. The commander looks like he's enjoying this already, and they trade blow for blow. We see Mal Wang take a hit on the cheek, as they continue in their brawl, and Johan says that he didn't know he was this strong. He's fighting toe-to-toe with this monster, But Kiwoong says that's not the case, as Mal Wang is sustaining injuries with each and every blow. It looks as if Commander is just toying with him, trying to figure out if he'll still laugh when his body is ripped up to pieces. We then hear an old man yelling, asking what everybody is doing. Their junior is getting demolished, and they're really just going to sit here and watch, as teammates are supposed to share the burdens with each other. Muscular strength is national strength, and in the name of the stronger gym CEO, he won't forgive this. It's just a bunch of really buff old dudes. Yura says no wonder the gym isn't doing too well, because everybody there is old. Kiwoong is surprised to see the chairman, and he screams, telling the men to charge in, but Manager Lee steps before all of them, stopping them. They ask what he's doing, as their junior is in danger, telling him to step aside. He says he can't, but this is a one-on-one battle with the pride of these men on the line, and they can't undermine Mal Wang's will. As he's back there fighting, Mal Wang takes a glance to see him, and Manager Lee smiles and nods. They say surely they can see that Mal Wang has an unshakable will to win. Jihyun says he's right. Mal Wang is showing them through his actions that if they don't give up on their own trials, they can overcome them and grow stronger. They are staring at her, saying she's grown up well, and they're definitely not looking at her eyes. Jihyun says all they can do right now is to believe in and support him. They still ask what the hell they are all doing, as he's dying, and why the hell they've been hesitating since earlier, as he starts crying. They all realize that they were just wrong in the look he was giving them, and they decide to go jump his shit, making this like a JJK fight. Manager Lee and Kiwoong do a combo attack, but get easily blocked by Commander, who sends them flying backwards. The old man then goes for theirs, but also gets instantly folded. I don't know if the old dude's face is built for this. As they get sent launching, Johan then uses the Tango Buster, shooting out a beam towards the Commander. The Commander easily blocks it, but it's not just that. As Johan looks worried, the Commander slowly walks through the beam, closing the gap. As he's about to bite off Johan's head, we see a giant explosion. He closes his eyes out of fear, but when he slowly opens them, realizing he's still alive, we see Heart King say he is definitely no pushover. Johan isn't his type, but beggars can't be choosers. As he grabs onto Johan's tie, he starts putting his lips closer, giving him the ultimate smooches, telling him to not worry, as he's not a bad guy. The rest watch in absolute horror, and the Commander is confused, as Heart King starts ripping through his clothing, getting even buffer, and he starts pushing the Commander back. The Heart King is an A-rank hero whose skill is the Yang Energy Kiss. It enhances his physical abilities by absorbing energy from his kiss target. The kiss target experiences pleasure. Poor Johan is going to be hooked. The Heart King then throws the Commander away, and then says it's time for his hard technique's first form. He takes a deep breath and starts going on a montage makeout spree with all the old buff dudes from the gym. This is probably the greatest montage of all time, and he calls it the Love Bulk Up. Diddy would be proud. The Commander says he must absorb the energies of males, and then the Heart King comes in with his second form. As he rears back his fist, it's called the Love and Hate Smash, as we see a giant atomic bomb cloud in the form of a heart. The Commander blocks it with his forehead, saying that he's not against him absorbing males' energies, but he's not exactly into BL. As the Heart King starts bleeding out of his mouth, the Commander distances himself. The Heart King says playing hard to get is super cute, and then he falls over, but the Mega Death people pull up and start driving around the Commander. They say that if the Commander is confident in his muscles, they want to see if his eardrum muscles are solid as well, and he should dance to the beat of his heart. As they start blasting their speakers fully maxed out, calling it dead noise. I genuinely did not know they were superheroes. As the attack starts flying in, the Commander says this is nothing, but realizes he can't dodge it because something stops him from moving, and when he looks down, it's the Heart King telling him he's not going anywhere. The Mega Death's attack starts flying straight towards him, and we see a giant explosion shattering the nearby buildings. Kiwoong wonders if they defeated him, and Yura tells him to shut the hell up with the cliché lines. As the Commander is definitely on fire from the attack, he starts standing back up and chuckles a little bit before going into full-blown laughter, but Mal Wang matches the laughter as well. When the Commander stops, so does Mal Wang, and they stare at each other for a second as Jihyun is helping him up. The Commander glances at her, and when he looks into her eyes, he gets a flashback to his little sister screaming, asking why the hell he would do this to them. And she starts bawling, wondering what they did to deserve this. He sees her face in Jihyun and starts to feel a little guilty, I assume, because he undoes his transformation, and they're all just confused. Megadeth wonders what's going on, and the commander stares at them, saying that just a few hours ago, an awakened human who was dying in his hands said that God only gives them trials they can endure, so that he won't give up, and who knows, if they all overcome this trial, they might end up meeting again. And for the record, he doesn't believe in the gods to begin with. Once he's preparing an actual spirit bomb above while yapping, they just sit there and watch it happen, because there's nothing they can do to a giant meteor that is off the planet. The news even starts reporting about the giant meteor, and that it is causing massive electromagnetic interference, and paralyzing Seoul's communication network. They wonder if this has to do with the monsters subtly retreating, and they mention how the Hero Association has yet to propose any plans to those in the striking point of the meteor, so they should head to the nearest shelter. As she keeps repeating it at the Hero Association meeting, they say that this is really bad. As the meteor starts to get closer and closer, the commander begins to teleport out, saying that they should struggle all they can, and he tells the general he is ready to join the main force. The general says he is unusually late, wondering if he has something to report. He says no, as everything has been neutralized. But one of the guys says that they haven't been fully dealt with, and the commander blows the entire upper half of his body off. The general tells him to return quickly, as they lost Duolingo for nothing, and he will place the blame on the commander. They start setting off, and the commander wants to see what they will try to do against the impending doom they are facing, as all of the pyramid-like structures begin warping out. The red dum-dums start screaming, saying they need to bring it with them, and Ki-woong is just surprised, asking what the hell happened to its shape. The blue one as well starts screaming and crying, and they can't believe that this is what was inside of the giant versions. Manager Lee says with this, they are definitely dead, and Yura says he shouldn't say it like that. Johan says no way, as he is not an S rank for nothing. He starts firing everything he's got towards the meteor, striking a cool pose. It literally does nothing to it, and Manager Lee says it is over. Yura tells him to shut the hell up, but Malwang says he has something he wants to say, asking if they can hear him out. They wonder what he's about to say, and he says he is sorry. Yura asks why he is saying that, and he is scaring her. He says it is too late, and what happened to Dave was his fault. Because he is stubborn and selfish, he practically pranced without a care to those around him. He is a burden on everyone, always causing problems wherever he goes, and he hid himself under this alpha male mask, laughing loudly and acting tough, but it is all fake, it was all a facade, and the real him is nothing but a loser, and that he is sorry for fooling, because in reality, he is just a piece of shit. Jihyun says that is not true at all, and the reason she was able to change was because she was inspired by his confidence. He says this is exactly why he has something to ask. He needs a favor from all of them. He smiles very widely, saying that he is thinking of becoming that crazy lunatic instead of pretending to be one, and asks if they will go on a rampage with him. He asks Yura to support him, and she says this is what she expected of him. She starts forming a spring, making a giant trampoline, and as he is preparing to launch off, he says he is going to show them all what being crazy is really like as he hurls himself straight towards the meteor at full speed. Yura casts her ability on him as it starts to form around him. Dave's little sister as well says it is time to crank the volume, and they cast dead noise, using it to give him a push from behind. As they are doing this combo attack, Johan says he will join and lets his jetpack fly up as it lands on Malwang's back. Jihyun starts to lock in and tells him to go all out, as he is now donning the cross on his chest. Malwang screams really loudly, saying that this is how it should be, as he flies headfirst into the meteor. Ki-woong and Dumb and Dumber start yelling to go, but so does everybody else, as they are all doing it in unison. There is a giant blinding light that covers the entire horizon before it is followed by an explosion, sending a lot of debris flying out from the meteor. Right after the explosion ends, the dust starts to settle, and we see the meteor almost completely intact, and the Megadeth members say this is how reality is. Jihyun starts grunting as the meteor starts hurtling down onto one of the buildings. Malwang manages to get underneath it and is holding it back with his pig trotter, and says to stop screwing with him. Yura's armor starts breaking, and he begins spitting up blood, and it starts to collapse into the building, causing a massive domino effect nearby, to the other buildings. Jihyun slowly opens her eyes, wondering how she is still alive and where Malwang is. We see that the meteor has not crashed into Earth. As Mal Wang is grunting with all he has, he is holding it up while performing a squat using the pig trotter as a barbell. She tells him to wait as she casts a spell, but her hand starts bleeding profusely. She yells out to him, but Mal Wang screams, telling her to stop trying to do stupid things. They ask what he's talking about, and he says that he can take this stupid piece of rock on his own, so they can all back off. She tells him that he shouldn't be doing this, and this is stupid. He says the fact she doesn't believe in him hurts. Yura asks if he's really wanting them to all leave him here to sacrifice himself. As they won't let that happen. Johan has different ideas, as he flies in, grabbing both of them, and Yura starts screaming and crying, saying that Mal Wang's going to die. Johan says they'll all die, and he bought time for them for a reason. As the meteor starts sinking lower and lower, Jihyun sees a small smile as everybody starts running for it. Dave's sister is crying while looking back, and Mal Wang says that he can save everyone, and this is good. Jihyun begins sobbing as he starts succumbing to the pressure. We hear Dave's voice telling him to lift his head. He immediately starts pressing back up against the meteor. Dave asks if all of this fuss is really because of a rock, and he thought that he was going to show them all. What a true alpha male is we see a crutch, and that he is actually alive. The Megadeth members start crying, calling out for him, and even Johan asks how he's alive. They wonder if maybe the curse lifted when that green bastard died. Yura says he should have been in pieces then. Dave can't tell them that it was the super glue that saved him, because they glued his rock parts back together. He asks Mal Wang how long he's going to whine like a kid, and if he wants to go back to the loser he once was, and if he will finally come to his senses if he kicks his ass. Mal Wang smiles. Then says he can try if he wants. He then takes a deep breath in, puts his feet parallel, hands slightly wider than shoulder width, and starts to brace himself, as he's getting into the perfect technique for the squat. He bends his knees slightly and starts to exhale before taking one more deep breath. Dave says whenever he's ready to give it a big count, he counts up to 3 and tells him to lift that bitch. Mal Wang starts squeezing with everything he has, and yelling while pushing upwards. We start to see a fiery aura glow beneath the meteor, and Dave says just like that, and he needs to lift it. Blood begins pouring out, and he looks surprised, as Mal Wang is bleeding heavily now from the mouth. Dave tells him that he can't get weak on him, and he can do this. Everybody else is also watching, as the meteor starts getting closer and closer. Johan says that it really is over, and Yura says that she needs to go help him, as she struggles to stand. But Johan tells her to calm down, as there's no way she can help anybody in this state. She starts crying, saying that she can't watch him suffer like this, and he's trying so hard. Jihyun starts glowing with all of the types of aura now. Johan is surprised, and she grits her teeth and starts asking herself mentally if she's going to go back to how she was, always scared. She finally got her powers back, so this time at least, by any means, she needs to help Mal Wang. The building begins to collapse underneath Mal Wang, and as it starts crushing him, Jihyun screams, saying that she really wants to save him. She starts to activate her powers on the actual building itself, and it begins repairing itself, and Johan wonders what the hell is going on. Mal Wang now has footing, but they're just surprised that the building is being restored. Somebody in the Hero Association says that it's as they thought. Their predictions were correct. They must have thought that the only thing Cure Girl can do is heal people, when in reality her true power is time inversion. She tells Mal Wang that she's going to support him, and that she'll give it all she's got. The pig trotter that he's holding onto starts to change into a metal pole, giving him a proper barbell to squat this thing with. He says that he thought she was meant to help, and she just made it heavier. We hear an old man say that it wasn't her, and he calls out to Mal Wang as his descendant. This is the old guy he thought was Jesus. Dave drops his crutches, asking what the hell this is, saying there's no way this is real, and that was just a legend. Even Manager Lee says this is the stuff of legends, and everybody starts freaking out, saying that it's none other than an ancestor, and they all look genuinely confused. Manager Lee says there's no way, because they all know what that means, and Yura says she doesn't, telling him to spit it out. He says that there's a legend within the bodybuilding world, that if someone pushed their muscles to the absolute limit, to the point their muscles and tendons tore apart, once they could no longer recover, the ancestor would come down from the heavens to help them exceed their mortal limits. But there is only one condition for you to activate it, which is why it's the thing of legends, and that's that you've never been touched by yin energy, which means only the purest virgin can do it. But Mal Wang cuts him off, telling him to shut the hell up. The old man says his breathing is all over the place, and he needs to concentrate. Mal Wang tells him to shut up, and he asks if he's really a virgin, and Mal Wang once more screams, saying to shut up, as he starts giving it all he's got. A drone starts to shoot the entire thing, seeing the ancestor, and the news starts reporting it, asking if everybody can see this. A muscular old man suddenly showed up, holding up the meteor with his bare hands, and surely they all know what they're looking at is hard to believe, but it's true. That an elderly bodybuilder is single-handedly saving the Earth. Poor guy is getting no credit. Yura tells him that he can lift this stupid rock, and she doesn't like men who get defeated. All the civilians as well start cheering him on while crying, telling him to lift that shit. Mal Wang is using it as fuel and starts screaming, as everybody in unison, even Dumb and Dumber, start screaming up, and they start screaming it over and over. As the entire city of Seoul is screaming, telling him to get it up already, Mal Wang takes the deepest breath he's ever taken in his life and starts squeezing everything he has within his body. The aura starts flowing around all over, and he goes into the perfect squat position once more, as his hair turns into a golden white. As something inside him snaps, Jihyun screams. Mal Wang starts letting out a primal roar, bleeding from the nose, lifting the meteor up to the point that it's actually starting to crack and explode all throughout, creating another super bright light all across the horizon. Everybody sees the explosion, and Ki-woong and Dumb and Dumber are bawling. Megadeth is excited, and Dave just looks proud. Jihyun lets out some tears of joy, as Mal Wang has succeeded in squatting the meteor. Sometime later, they actually built a statue of the ancestor while rebuilding the city. It's the guy who was getting bullied from before, carrying some food, saying that he's going to be late, and that lunchtime has already ended, and they're going to be mad at him again. But he rolls his ankle and trips, dropping all of the food, and something is carrying in front of him. He thanks them, only to see the cryptid staring at him. He says good boy before it shoots off into the gym. The guy starts freaking out, saying hell no, and the bullies are one thing, but he can't even believe the cat is messing with him now too. He enters a stronger gym, asking if anybody is here because a cat came inside. As he sees all the Megadeth people, and everybody else is glaring at him, chills run down his spine, and he says that he must have got the wrong place. And Mal Wang says to stop fucking with him, as the old man wasn't the one who stopped the meteor, and that he worked his ass off to save this planet, and he starts breaking his phone, saying that he's going to kill everyone and destroy this damn world. Dave tells him he can't be this petty, and the student starts crying at Mal Wang, screaming, apologizing. Dave then spots him, as the kid is on the floor crying, begging not to be hit. Mal Wang sees him now as well, and recalls how he used to be in the past. Realizing what he must do, he approaches the kid, as Dave tells him to wait, and Mal Wang tells him he doesn't know what's going on. And the kid goes to explain it, but Mal Wang says that he must be a newbie, welcoming him. He then gets him up off the floor, telling him to look how thin his arms are, and his legs, saying that he needs to work out. He tells him that he needs to get going right now, and he starts making him do squats, deadlifts, and even bench press, saying that he only has a 1-minute break. And once he's finished, they're going to do 2 more sets. The kid says that he's not being listened to at all, and he only came here to find his bread. Mal Wang asks how it is, saying that he's never worked out like this before, has he? And the kid says that he hasn't. Mal Wang tells him to look around him, as a healthy body begets a healthy mind. He asks how their minds are healthy when they're all wearing base paint. Even Johan is in the gym now. Mal Wang tells him that if he continues increasing the weights he uses, he'll soon see a version of himself who's healthier and stronger. The word stronger touches the kid, and he asks if he really can become it, even though he's just a loser. Mal Wang says that he should just trust him. It's usually $100 a month, but just for him, he'll put up a special sale and let him in at $1,300 a year. He is scamming this kid. The kid's eyes start lighting up, and Mal Wang's also looks sincere. A little hesitant, the kid then decides to do it, saying that he's ready to join. We then see a photo being taken by Dumb and Dumber of the entire thing, and it turns out that it's a live stream feed to Commander, who smiles after having destroyed an entire planet. The general is also watching this and laughs, saying that this is going to be very interesting, but it won't be, because the entire thing is over, and this is the end for some reason. Well, I guess since it's over, these personal thoughts won't be getting any more updates. And honestly, the series did nothing in terms of story. Okay, maybe that's giving it too little credit. It was really funny. I genuinely enjoyed the fact that it was a gag series. And if you don't know what that means, think One Punch Man, Gintama, Mashle, that kind of vibe. Just like those, this one never took itself too seriously, which I respect. I'm kind of a sucker for gag series. They're not super dramatic or emotionally heavy, but they've all got those moments that do hit. In this case, the only time it got even remotely serious was when Dave got bricked up. And low-key, at first, I wanted his death to stick. But now that I know it was axed, I'm glad he got unpetrified. Imagine the horror if they didn't glue him though. It makes you wonder if it got axed because it wasn't performing well enough, which is unfortunately pretty common these days. There are just too many series fighting for attention, and a lot of them get dropped before they really find their footing. I think this one was taken too seriously by people who expected more from it, but it's just a goofy-ass read with action sprinkled throughout. And maybe I'm biased, it is about Jim Bros, after all, but I had fun. He literally squatted a meteor with the power of friendship and virginity. That's peak. Too many people slept on this series. Alright, let's move into the actual review. It'll be brief since, well, the series was pretty short and chaotic by design. The manhwa was a lot better than I expected. I went in not knowing it was based on a real dude, the Horse King, and figured it'd just be a weird series that relied on cringe humor. But I was wrong. I'm assuming a lot of the comedy is based on bits from his actual YouTube channel, and surprisingly, it works. So, the setup is kind of your standard hunters and monsters deal, but it spins it with heroes and villains instead. That said, none of this is ever really fleshed out. We got like 3 villains and then poof, it's over. I was genuinely hyped when the general and commander showed up near the end, thought we were about to get an actual villain arc, but nope. Series done. Which is kinda sad, because it was just starting to get good. Now in terms of character development, not a ton. That's expected with how short it was. But we did see a little with Jihyun, who slowly went from cowardly to more confident. She's finally able to use her power at will, and you can tell she's chasing that childhood dream again. Also, we got a bit of Yura's backstory with her weight loss, but it wasn't super deep or emotional, more of a throwaway background detail. Still, it added something. What stood out most to me though? Mal Wang's sudden shift after Dave's death. It was the first time the series took a serious tone, and it gave everything we'd seen before that more weight. It made all the goofy moments feel like a setup for that emotional payoff. It landed. It hit. That moment had real potential to spark something, like this was the turning point. I really thought the series was going to expand from there, maybe dive deeper into a proper villain arc with the general and commander. But nah. Just when things were heating up, it was over. There was so much potential here. They could have built out a legit supervillain league, done a slow burn arc where the squad takes them down one by one, you know, classic hero story structure. But instead we got Duolingo Pac-Man Bird. Which, I won't lie, was wild. Hilarious, but wild. And yeah, Mal Wang being that strong. At first it was funny, but later it added some legit tension too. Kinda sad we'll never get to see more villain designs, especially anything on the level of Kiwung the Demon King. If I had to say what this series nailed, it'd be the humor and the combat. The combat was way better than I expected. Pretty fluid, and you could feel the weight of the hits. It wasn't just flashy nonsense, every punch and lift felt like it mattered. Even when it was gym themed, it still hit hard. No pun intended. And man, Manager Lee. That dude is Saitama before he lost his hair. After just being in the background the whole time, he suddenly went full beast mode and started shredding monsters like it was nothing. Bro has no powers, just raw hands. Gave me chills, not gonna lie. I need to know what his deal is. The humor honestly carried the series. The entire Megadeth group was hilarious, gave off that Metalocalypse energy, straight out of an old Adult Swim lineup. Just chaotic and unhinged in the best way. The Heart King stuff was great too. Only gag that didn't really land for me was the pigfoot thing, but I'm assuming that's a Korean joke I didn't get. Also the weird little bits with Kiwung being a complete freak. Loved it. There are moments scattered throughout that genuinely got me. Let me know your favorite one, because there's a lot to pick from. I didn't find any real symbolism or hidden meaning, but you don't need that in a gag series. Not everything needs to be deep. Sometimes it's enough to just enjoy the ride. I do wish we got to see more from the stronger Jim. I genuinely have no clue where the plot was planning to go, and that's kind of what made it fun. It didn't need to be predictable. Anyway, that's all from me. I had a great time with this series, even if it was short-lived. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments. I'd love to hear if anyone else vibed with it like I did. Final words, this is going to be very interesting. If you've watched till the end, comment, gag, to let me know. Subscribe for more videos like this, leave a like or a comment to help the channel out. Thanks for watching.